17 of 2021. This will be resumption of a debate by holding bill, Senate Bill number 19 of 2021 by Senator Judith Pareno is also lined up for debate. Thereafter, the Committee of the Whole will be considering a couple of bills, and just to mention, one of the bills the committee will be considering is the Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bill number 25 of 2019. The Cooperative Societies Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 11 of 2020 by Senator Dr. Agnes Zani, and the Prompt Payment Bill, Senate Bill number 16 of 2021 by Senator Farhia Haji and Senator Johnson Sakaja. And lastly, the Committee of the Whole will be considering the Startup Bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2021. The fast tracking of cultural development bills in counties is a motion by Senator Sylvia Kasanga before the House this afternoon. The business of the House is just about to commence, and I'm now handing you over for the live broadcast. Enjoy your viewing. Good afternoon.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor and blessings as your servants whom you've been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our church. Amen.
Amen.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Minority Whip, Senator, you can present the papers.
Yes, please. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you. On behalf of the Majority Leader, and it's my pleasure to hold his brief, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Senate today, 4th November 2021. 1. The report of the Auditor General on the financial statement of Homa Bay County Education Bursary Fund for the year ended 30th of June 2019. 2. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Homa Bay County Assembly Car Mortgage Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019. 3. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statement of Homa Bay County Executive Car and Loan Mortgage Fund for the year ended 30th of June 2019. 4. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Fort Beverage Industries Company Limited for the year ended 30th of June 2018. 5. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Fort Beverage Industries Company Limited for the year ended 30th of June 2019. 6, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Migori County Executive Car Loan and Mortgage Fund for the year ended 30th of June 2019. 7, report of the Auditor General on the financial statement of Nyeri County Enterprise Development Fund for the year ended 30th of June 2019. 8, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kisii County Teaching and Referral Hospital Fund for the year ended 30th of June 2019. 9, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kisii County Assembly Car Mortgage and Mortgage Fund, Car Loan and Mortgage Fund for the year ended 30th of June 2019. 10, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kisii County Veterinary Services Development Fund for the year ended 30th of June 2019. 11, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kiambu County Assembly Staff Mortgage Scheme Fund for the year ended 30th of June 2019. 12, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Nyeri County Assembly Car Loan and Mortgage Fund for the year ended 30th of June 2019. Last but not least, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Nyamira County Assembly Car Mortgage Loan Scheme Fund for the year ended 30th of June 2019. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, statements.
What's your point of order, Senator?
Somebody to give me. Okay, thank you. I can see that the House, Madam Speaker, does not have a quorum. I don't know if we can proceed the business of this House, and we are so few. That's my concern. Thank you.
I would ask the clerks to confirm whether we are properly constituted or not. What of online? For 5 minutes? Can we have the bell rung for 5 minutes, please? Yes.
Senator Rosa Buyu, who is currently overseeing the business of the Senate this afternoon, has ordered that the bell be rung for 5 minutes. This is to allow for more senators to make their way into the chamber. As it stands, there is a quorum hitch in the Senate, and that number has to be achieved for the House to proceed with its business this afternoon. In the order paper this afternoon, the fast-tracking cultural development in counties, a motion by Senator Sylvia Kasanga, has been lined up for consideration before the House. And in the motion, the Senator notes that acknowledging that culture performs a significant role in the life of child, as well as the cultural background in which a child is brought up affects the totality of his or her activities. And now, therefore, the Senate urges the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Sports, Culture and Heritage, to formulate the cultural development policies and initiatives to inculcate stronger as well as cultural values, safeguard Kenya's heritage, recognize local heroes and promote social cultural opportunities in the counties, and also formulate strategies to create an enabling environment. This is for the protection and promotion of diversity of the cultural expressions in all the 47 counties. The House will be resuming that debate that was interrupted on Tuesday, 14th September 2021. Another motion before the House is on recognizing and appreciating the elderly by the county governments. It is a motion by Senator Rose Nyamunga, that are aware that in 2006, the national government initiated the Older Persons Cash Transfer Program, a program popularly known as Pesa ya Wazee, which is an unconditional cash transfer program to destitute elders in the family that are above 65 years. This is to cater for their subsistence needs. The House recommends that the county governments complement the efforts of the national government. This is to assist in resolving these challenges by 1. Developing legislation and policies to protect the elderly, including ensuring that all elderly persons in the 47 counties are registered in the program. Number 2, the Senator seeks to organize value addition mechanisms such as financial training to help the beneficiaries of the program to efficiently utilize the allowances given to them under the program cash transfer to Wazee. The adoption of the report of the Standing Committee on Health, this is on the COVID-19 pandemic situation in Kenya, is a motion by the Chairperson, Standing Committee on Matters Health, that the Senate adopts the first progress report of the Standing Committee on Matters Health. This is on the COVID-19 pandemic situation in Kenya, and that particular report was laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 30th March 2021. The House will equally be considering a motion by the Chairperson, Standing Committee on Health. The motion is on the adoption of the second progress report on the COVID-19 situation in Kenya and preliminary findings of the special audit report on the utilization of COVID-19 funds by the county governments. The third progress report on COVID-19 is also set to be tabled before the floor. And the adoption of the report of the Standing Committee on Roads and Transportation, this is on the inquiry into the operationalization of the National Construction Authority, is also before the House. The quorum has been achieved, and I'm now handing you over for the live broadcast.
So we are at the statements, and from the statement, I don't see Senator Kwamboka. Senator Kwamboka has two statements. Senator Sherargei, your statement, please.
Madam Speaker, I can be given some time to check my kindly.
Grace is not here.
How come it is not here?
Senator Olekina.
Madam Speaker, I thank you. I rise to raise a statement, and this statement is very personal and timely because it affects the welfare of 900 Kenyans. Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare regarding the impending mass sacking of employees at the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency, KEMSA. Madam Speaker, in the statement, the committee should state why the government want to sack over 900 staff of the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency, KEMSA, in the pretext of restructuring. Madam Speaker, the committee should also explain the legal basis of the impending mass sacking at the troubled organization. Number 3, the committee should also inform the Senate of the criteria used to identify officers who are to be laid off in the restructuring process. Number 4, Madam Speaker, the committee should appraise the Senate of the compensation to be awarded to the staff for termination of their employment, listing the compensation package per cadre of employees. Number 5, state the progress made by KEMSA in implementing the resolutions of Parliament following the probe conducted on their agencies by the Senate and the National Assembly last year, and I might say, which extended to this year. Madam Speaker, the committee should also explain whether the State Corporation Advisory Committee, SCSC, as required by the State Corporations Act, Section 27, whether it made any recommendations to the President in regards to the reorganization, removal, or transfer of officers and staff of KEMSA, and if the board acted on its advice. Madam Speaker, if you may allow me just to add two issues. This morning, Madam Speaker, the board, the new board of KEMSA, sent all employees of KEMSA to 1 month off. During this 1 month, they are supposed to be working from home. Last week or 2 weeks ago, the president lifted all the curfew which was in the country. The judiciary directed all judges to resume work from 9 to 5. Why would the new board now send the staff to go and work from home? The plan by this board also, Madam Speaker, is that after the 30-day period is over, all the staff of KEMSA, 900 of them, will be fired. They will be now vetted. They will be asked to apply afresh.
I think now you are over.
That's what I was requesting, Madam Speaker, if you could add more information on this, because some of this
just add information, but don't.
So let me add some more information. This just happened this afternoon, Madam Speaker. This morning, when the new board, led by the board member, the chairperson, Ms. Mandia, who used to work for USAID, issued that directive. And what bothers me, Madam Speaker, which I'd like this committee to look into, is that in her statement, in her press statement, she knows very well that it is going to affect the psychology of all these employees. She said that within the next 30 days, the organization will offer psychological support to all the staff. And finally, Madam Speaker, why would NYS be used to be able to come and work there if you're actually sending them because of COVID or because you want to carry out investigation? Why not use the same people? So, Madam Speaker, I would really request that the Committee on Labor expedite this. And just like, Madam Speaker, you had directed that the issue of FKF be held immediately, I would request that you give the same directive on this matter, because this is a matter that affects families, not only the 900 immediate members, but extended family members who depend on those people who work for KEMSA. I really would beseech you to do that, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I would now allow a few comments on this, and the first opportunity is to Senator Mutula Jr.
Madam Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. This is so unfortunate. It's unfortunate that, and let me be very frank, the 900 officers at KEMSA did not procure the PPEs. The 900 officers did not cause the scandal that we are aware of. This is a cover-up of very powerful individuals and their families from being investigated for the fraud in KEMSA. It is a cover-up, and we must call it what it is. It is a cover-up. Ordinary Kenyans are being jailed left, right, and center for stealing. But when it comes to powerful people, you send people packing and you send KDF and NYS. It's time we call it the way it is. Theft, cover-up. Kembi Gitura, who used to sit here, was given another job instead of answering questions. It is a cover-up. And it's cover-up of people who speak the same language, are connected to certain people. It's unfortunate. If NYS can move from National Youth Service, where they're supposed to dig trenches and clean our towns, to now procuring drugs. And Madam Speaker, why this is unfortunate is because this is going to affect our counties. Yes. This is the only source of procurement of drugs. It's a monopoly. There's no difference between KEMSA and KPLC. If in fact counties could procure drugs directly, I would not even bother. But I know this is going to affect our counties. But what is more important? One senator here, and I will not name that senator, wanted to raise a concern about the harassment of the DPP. That statement was not raised. This idea of making sure that you cripple institutions to protect corruption. And I have said this before. The constitution we passed in 2010, which the High Court and the Supreme Court is going to uphold, says you are going to answer to questions when you're in office and when you're out of office. You can fool some people sometime, but you can't fool all the people all the time. We will get to the bottom of this. But I hope this committee, because we were dealing with them today, I hope this committee is not going to receive phone calls. I had the same problem. And that is why we rejected the committee led by Senator Dulo. Because eventually, when we requested them to do a proper audit, they ended up with a sham report. I hope that we will not go there. It's unfortunate. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Sherargei Kiprotich.
No, it's not a different statement. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I want to support this statement. It looks like the problems that KEMSA is facing are serious and endemic with time. It is unfortunate, Madam Speaker, that as we talk as a country, these KEMSA, because of reactionary measures that they are putting in place and they want to protect powerful cartels within the sector, especially the Ministry of Health and also procurement of drugs, they have decided to go for the small fish. You remember sometimes in the beginning of the year, Madam Speaker, I remember the EACC and DPP and DCI used to say they want to fry the big fish, not the small fish. But this instance, it is very unfortunate, Madam Speaker, that 900 ordinary junior employees within KEMSA are being sacrificed at the altar of protection of powerful individuals within government and within KEMSA fraternity, Madam Speaker. You have heard even my brother say it about the former chair, and the board was implicated, Madam Speaker. The former chair, who is Senator Kembi Gitura, and the board were implicated on corruption allegations that were in KEMSA, Madam Speaker. What did the government, what did the president do? He decided to transfer him to Commission of Authority Kenya, CAK. How do you transfer corruption from KEMSA to CAK. Now CAK will also face corruption issues, because if you are not ready to fire the board that was implicated, you are transferring the chair and rewarding. It looks like corruption nowadays is a rewarding competition. The more corrupt you are, the more reward you will be given. The more you are honest and protecting your job and following rules and regulations that have been provided by the labor laws, Madam Speaker, then you are punished by the government, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's very unfortunate that as we talk today, the same board that was implicated are sacrificing the junior 900 employees that depend largely on this hard-earned salary, Madam Speaker, of even 50,000, 100,000 Kenya shillings. But the high and mighty, and you remember, Madam Speaker, when the issue of KEMSA came up, senior employees were sent home for implications. You remember late last year, after the COVID-8 millionaires came out, Madam Speaker, the president ordered DCI and DPP and EACC to 21 days. Madam Speaker, it is more than many months and many days. That report is yet to be seen. No one is yet to be prosecuted. The only thing that we are seeing is some junior 900 who do not have a voice. The voice they have is our Senate only, Madam Speaker. And therefore, we want to challenge the president that you told the country 21 days, the KEMSA report should be ready. People should be prosecuted. What is happening? Who are these more powerful than the president? Than the people that the direction president is giving cannot even be prosecuted, Madam Speaker. So I think 21 days is long overdue. And I know there is pressure from your side, Madam Speaker. And you remember when there was problems with KEMSA, and you remember USAID refused even to continue funding KEMSA until institutional reforms were done. No one has done institutional reforms up to now. Do you want to tell that they will lie to those donors that donate through KEMSA and through USA that they have fired 900 employees? Are they going to tell the donors that they have fired 900 employees who are participating in corruption within KEMSA? I think we are lying to the country, Madam Speaker. We need to be honest with ourselves that 21 days is long overdue. We want to challenge the investigating agencies, DCI, DPP, and EACC, that they need to prosecute COVID-8 millionaires, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the third point I wanted to make so that I can sit is that there is always state cooperation at a corporations advisory committee. What is the fate? Because if you want to do reforms within particular sector, Madam Speaker, what are the recommendations about KEMSA? You have heard, Madam Speaker, as a Senate would not care about KEMSA. KEMSA is the only authority that has monopoly of procuring drugs. And the moment you touch KEMSA, you touch Kisumu County, you touch Nandi County, you touch Isiolo County. Where will they continue getting drugs? Why are you taking NYS? And Madam Speaker, I'm sorry to say this. Why is there a systematic military changeover in this country? Because the other day you saw KMC were being taken over by KDF. You saw NMS being run by individuals from KDF. Are they trying to give KEMSA to KDF, Madam Speaker? Because you are seeing NYS. Why are the NYS going inside the KEMSA? Yet they do not have expertise of procuring drugs, Madam Speaker. So I think it should not go to record that we should allow that. Let us not allow that direction, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I support and I want to insist that anybody who was found implicated, if there was anybody that was implicated, Madam Speaker, in the issue of corruption within KEMSA, they must be prosecuted. We cannot allow that. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Faria, what is your point of intervention?
Madam Speaker, I want to inform our distinguished senator from Nandi that KMC is doing much, much better under the military than it was doing when it was under private hands. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Gertrude Musurube. Hi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance to comment on this statement. Honorable Speaker, it is actually unthinkable for a whole institution to just be brought to an end. When you decide to sack 900 workers, that is a whole institution. And there must be something really that is warranting sacking of all these members and workers. Honorable Speaker, I condemn the act of sacking 900 workers. Honorable Speaker, sacking 900 workers means that you are affecting 900 families. Each and every one of these workers probably has a wife, has children, and they're all depending on this person as the bread earner in a family. So you can imagine all these families being affected, and yet some of these workers have loans. Some of these workers probably have children who are going to school. So it means that the children cannot continue going to school if they're depending on this worker, to pay fees for college and all that. It becomes a nightmare. If they're depending also on their parents who are also working with KEMSA for food, it means that they'll not be able to deliver food on the table. Honorable Speaker, it is painful that 900 workers can be sent home, Honorable Speaker. And I want to say, Honorable Speaker, when you're talking about support, we cannot compromise financial support for psychosocial support, Honorable Speaker. These people do not need psychological support. They need financial support, Honorable Speaker. And even laying these people 900, they need to be compensated for being laid unlawfully. There is need for an investigation to be done to really find out what exactly necessitated laying off 900 people. And if they're laying off 900 people, they should not employ other people, Honorable Speaker, because you don't, you don't decide that you're sacking A, and then maybe A has qualifications, and then you bring in B, who may not even have the desirable qualifications, Honorable Speaker. There's need to investigate. If they sack 900 people, are they able to operate as an organization without all these workers? And if they have employed other, workers, what is the conditionality? What necessitated that they lay off people and then they employ others, Honorable Speaker? There are things that are under the carpet that need to be unearthed, Honorable Speaker. And this Senate, I think, should be able to ensure that they unearth what is under the carpet, Honorable Speaker. We cannot just sit and watch families aching, families being pained, simply because the key earner in the family has no financial provision for the families, Honorable Speaker. We must stand up for the workers and ensure that workers are treated as they deserve, Honorable Speaker. And if there is any unfair sacking, the workers should be given monetary compensation, and apart from monetary compensation, they should actually be reinstated to the job they were in, Honorable Speaker, and even elevated. And if they've been good workers, then they should be rewarded for the good work, Honorable Speaker. I condemn the act of sacking 900 employees, and I want to say as a senator that there's need for thorough investigation. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I support this statement.
Senator Langat Christopher Andrew.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to congratulate Senator Olekina for bringing to this House this particular very important statement. I don't know what is happening with our country, Madam Speaker, because yesterday when I was watching over the television, I saw a very inhuman government evacuating people at, I think it was Mukuru or Njenga, something like that, in a very inhuman way. Children were left outside, some houses were being pushed down while people are cooking, and I realized that we are living in a time that our leaders are so inhuman, or they are so distant from the feelings of the people. So here is another one that also raises a lot of concern. Sacking 900 people without minding exactly what repercussion will take place thereafter. Yes, could be these particular people, maybe their duties are no longer very seriously needed, but there are significant people behind these particular 900 people. There are very innocent children who are in school, who need food, and very many other basic needs. Bearing in our minds that most of these people working in KEMSA are living in houses that they rent. Sacking them without a proper criteria to show this particular house send of packages that will see these people to live well for a while is suicidal to the lives of these particular Kenyans. This is a period whereby we are in the midst of a pandemic, and subjecting these particular Kenyans to such very inhuman practices is not acceptable in a civilized society, Madam Speaker. So I want to say this particular senator, Senator Olekina, has said, we really need to know why this particular sacking at this point of time. We must be informed. Why sack these particular 900 Kenyans at this particular point of time? What criteria has it been used to arrive at these particular individuals? How many people are working in this particular sector? And what criteria exactly was used? Could be this is a way of laying off these particular people, maybe from other regions, so that particular ones are put in place where these particular people are working. So we must protect these particular people. This is a department that has bad records on corruption. And we have not seen robust action by the government against those particular big fish, which we've been talking about them in this particular house. The president had pronounced it so clear that within 21 days, the 21 days had gone 2 months, it's getting to years, without any proper action taken to those particular corrupt fellows. In fact, as Cherargei was saying, some were promoted in state, and it really demoralizes the morally upright people in this particular country. These are the things that we must condemn. And I'm so sure the sacking of these 900 is a scapegoat. It's a scapegoat actually to cover up the deeds and the malpractices that has happened in this particular sector. So I want to say this is very inhuman, and we should condemn it very seriously. I would like also to add that we want to know if they are sacking these particular people. We want to know the reasons. Number two, we want to know the scent of packages that these people are going to be given, so that they may live well thereafter. We are living in a country, Madam Speaker, full of stress. People are under different kinds of pressure and frustrations in this country. Every day we hear over the social media, over the mainstream media, people committing suicides in very difficult circumstances. And actually subjecting 900 into the same pressure and awkward circumstances is encouraging this particular awkward behavior that we are seeing happening in our society. So we must mind about the children that are actually significant to these particular people. We must mind about all the people that are living with these particular people. So we condemn this particular act, and I want to say that we shall stand with the committee that will investigate this and support it fully. I want to thank senators, once again, Senator Olekina, for taking the concern on our behalf. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Mwinyi Haji.
Asante Bibi Speaker kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia taarifa iliyoletwa na Senator wa Narok, Mheshimiwa Olekina. Mheshimiwa Speaker, ni wazi kuwa serikali ya Kenya haina hamu ama haina nderemo ya kupambana na ufisadi. Kwa sababu kutoka rais alipotoa maagizo kwamba uchunguzi ufanywe kuhusiana na sakata ya KEMSA, mpaka sasa hatujaona ripoti yoyote. Tuliambiwa faili imepelekwa kwa DPP, zikaregeshwa kufanya marekebisho, na mpaka sasa hakujakuwa na yoyote ambayo amefikishwa mahakamani kuhusiana na kashfa hii. Mheshimiwa Speaker, wafanyakazi wadogo sasa wako hatarini ya kupoteza kazi zao kwa makosa ambayo sio yao, makosa ambayo yamefanywa na watu wengine ambao ni wakubwa katika shirika hilo, na ambao kwa sasa pia wameweza kutolewa katika KEMSA wakapelekwa sehemu zingine na wanaendelea na kazi zao na maisha yao kama kawaida. Mheshimiwa Speaker, hii inaonyesha kwamba hapa Kenya hakuna haki. Mnyonge msonge. Hakuna haki kabisa. Kwa Kwa sababu itakuwaje watu waliofanya kazi zao sawa sawa wakaonesha kwamba mambo yote yako sawa kwa upande wao, wanakuwa wanapoteza kazi zao, wakati wale ambao walipokea pesa nyingi, mapesa mabilioni, wanaendelea na shughuli zao bila shida yoyote. Mheshimiwa Spika, KEMSA, kazi ya madawa inayofanyika na KEMSA sio kazi yoyote ambayo utaweza kupeleka mtu yoyote kwenda kufanya pale. Ni kazi ambayo kidogo inahitaji ujuzi fulani, na hatuwezi kuchukua askari wa National Youth Service tukawapeleka kufanya kazi hiyo. Hatuwezi kuchukua askari wa jeshi ambao kazi yao kubwa ni ulinzi tukawapeleka kwenda kufanya kazi kama hiyo. Mheshimiwa Spika, mabilioni yamepotea tayari kwa zabuni ghushi na vile vile pia bidhaa ghushi ambazo zililetwa katika KEMSA, na vile vile kuna wengine mpaka sasa bado hawajalipwa kwa hizo bidhaa zao ghushi, na hii itatumika kama njia ya kuziba haya mapengo ili wale ambao walikuwa watakana kulipwa walipwe, halafu wale ambao watapata hasara ni wafanyakazi wadogo wadogo ambao wanafanya kazi yao bila matatizo yote. Mheshimiwa Spika, iwapo hawa watafutwa kazi, wote itabidi waende mahakamani kudai haki zao, na hiyo pia serikali itabidi ilipe zaidi ya pesa, mabilioni ya pesa, ili kuhakikisha wale wamepata haki kama watakavyoamrishwa na mahakama. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, badala ya kupambana na lile swala la ufisadi ambao ulikuwa katika KEMSA, serikali inatumia mbinu mbadala kuweza kuziba matatizo hayo ili kuonekana kwamba mambo yote yako sawa na kuwadanganya wafadhili kwamba kila kitu kiko sawa. Mheshimiwa Spika, haiwezekani katika karne hii wanyonge kunyongwa katika KEMSA wakati bunge la Senate liko hapa na bunge la kitaifa liko hapa kutetea maslahi ya wananchi wanyonge katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Wewe Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba kwamba japokuwa swala hili utalipeleka kwa kamati, mimi ningeomba utoe amri kwamba waziri muhusika, waziri wa afya, aje hapa bunge la Senate wiki ijayo ili tumuhoji ni kwa sababu gani hawa watu wamepelekwa likizo ya lazima, kwa sababu gani hawa watu wameambiwa wafanye kazi nyumbani, na kama ni sawa kwamba kila sekta sasa ipawe jeshi, wakati sisi tunajua jeshi linapata shida Somalia. Tunajua katika jeshi pia kuna mambo ya zabuni, na wao pia ni mafisadi zaidi kuliko sehemu nyingine yote katika nchi yetu. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, si sawa kuipeleka hii kwa kamati alafu ikalaliwa, kwa sababu tayari tuna ripoti ya KEMSA hapa. Miezi miwili, zaidi ya miezi miwili ripoti hiyo haijajadiliwa. Mwenyekiti haonekani bungeni kupeleka ripoti yake mbele izungumziwe. Nimefurahi Mheshimiwa Sakaja amekuwa hapa wiki nzima, ameweza kusikiza kupeleka mbele ripoti yake, lakini wenye vitu wengine wa kamati zao Mheshimiwa Spika hawana shughuli ya kuweza kusukuma ripoti zao ziweze kusikizwa na yale mapendekezo ambayo ameyapendekeza yaweze kukubaliwa na bunge ili tuweze kusonga mbele. Mheshimiwa Spika, kumalizia nasema kwamba waziri aitwe hapa na bodi mpya ya KEMSA ije hapa, watuambie ni kigezo gani wametumia kuwapeleka nyumbani hawa wafanyakazi 900 wakati wale wahusika na zabuni ni wengine kabisa. Asante Speaker.
Senator Dulo Fatuma.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to support this statement. Madam Speaker, it's really unfortunate that KEMSA is laying off 900 members of staff. Although we really don't know what are the facts behind it, but this time around, looking at the situation in the country with the COVID and the challenges Kenyans are facing, laying off 900 members of staff is unacceptable, Madam Speaker. And secondly, this KEMSA issue, there are several institutions that have really investigated on this matter. But unfortunately, even our own Committee of Health, and I know Senator Olekina is a member, I have not seen the report of the Health Committee of this House, and I know they have investigated on this matter. Maybe Senator Olekina can highlight on that. But it is unfortunate that we didn't know actually what transpired as far as KEMSA is concerned. National, let me agree
Senator,
to the, yes, let him inform me, thanks.
Senators Olekina.
Madam Speaker, let me thank the Deputy Majority, my Majority Leader for raising that concern. because this is a concern as a member that I've also had. The report on KEMSA was tabled in this House 30th of March 2021. It has been in the order paper from Tuesday the 11th of May, Tuesday the 18th of May, Tuesday the 25th of May, Wednesday the 2nd June 2021, all the way until the 15th of July 2021. We have failed as a Senate because we have not gone ahead and debated that report and adopted those resolutions of the committee. It is upon us now to be able to deal with it because it has been there. The Secretariat have been putting it on the order paper, but I'm surprised that even now, currently, we are now prioritizing county government COVID expenditures and leaving this issue of COVID, of KEMSA, which we spend a lot of taxpayers' money investigating. So I want to maybe inform the Deputy Majority Leader that it is a responsibility that we must take, and I take that full responsibility as a member of the Health Committee, but we do have a chairperson. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Olekina. It's true what I've actually raised, and I wish to blame also the chair of the committee. And we have 2 members from Health Committee that sit in the House Business. And normally, in as much as the report or committee report is sent to the Secretariat to be presented before the House Business Committee, it's the responsibility of the chairs to make sure that that report has been pushed until it is tabled in the House, debated, and actually adopted. Through this, I think we should have a Health Committee of this House table the report of KEMSA finding as quickly as possible. It can also help us to inform us why these 900 members of staff are laid off. I know National Assembly also did investigation on the same. It looks like the report is not also in the public domain. We want to know what are the reasons behind it. Various institutions, they have investigated. Those reports are all shelved. I think there is something happening somewhere, Madam Speaker. But my main concern here is also that can we have a committee of the whole where the minister can appear and come and tell us what is really happening to the 900 members of staff, so that we save those 900 members of staff, because it's really unacceptable. You can't lay off. You have to give reason why you are laying off those members of staff. Really, as Kenyans and as a country, and I wish the government should be able to really get into the bottom of all these issues of KEMSA and bring to books those who are involved. Madam Speaker, I still urge, if you can give a directive today, the minister appear before the committee of the whole by Tuesday next week. I thank you.
Finally, Senator Mudama Agnes Kavindu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to join hands with my fellow senators and congratulate Senator Olekina for this statement. Madam Speaker, even before I came into this House, there was issues about KEMSA, and I heard them being debated in this House while I was outside there. So, Madam Speaker, I concur with the rest of my fellow senators that the Committee of Health must table this report to the House, and the CA is also called to come and say why all this is happening and no action has been taken. Also, Madam Speaker, I want to say that it is very wrong and very unfair for the workers to be sacked at this time, and especially 900 of them. I mean, were they all involved in these KEMSA issues of corruption? And if the workers were involved, where are their bosses? Because a worker will never do anything without the instructions of their boss. So if they are to be questioned or sacked, the first people to go must be their bosses. And then not at this time when there's a lot of trouble because of COVID-19. Madam Speaker, yesterday in this house we were debating about the workers who are out there in Dubai and Arabian countries. And they are going there because at home they are not comfortable. Like these ones, if they are sacked, tell me what reason do they have to remain in Kenya, but to go outside there and suffer because they are going to look for a greener pasture, not even knowing where they are going. So we must stand firm and defend these workers so that they can have work and feel that they are at home in Kenya. We must sympathize with our children who are going out there, and some of them, especially those who work in houses, they are really mistreated. And they can do nothing about it. So, Madam Speaker, I'm saying I support this statement, and this Senate House must stand firm and defend its own. In Machakos County, I think also very soon I'll be bringing a motion of people who are sacked by Mutua. 240 of them were laid down with no good reason, just for political reasons. And if you follow all these things, you'll find that what is behind all this is politics. So politics should not come to divide and to make our citizens suffer. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support.
Oh, Senator Cherargei, you have an intervention. Oh, sorry, I saw it late, but you can go ahead.
Maybe for the purposes of record and answered, I think Senator Agnes Kavindu Mutama should be specific because we have so many Mutuas. He has said Mutua has fired over 200 employees. I think should be specific which Mutua.
I said Machakos County. Machakos County. We have only one Mutua who is the governor of Machakos County.
Senator Sakaja Johnson Arthur.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I join my colleagues in really expressing dismay and shock at this news. It is not normal for such action in such a radical way to be taken in the public service. We've seen such action being taken in the private sector many times, redundancy, and I've dealt with a number of these things in my committee because these are labor issues. But in the public sector, to see if this what is alleged is true, that 900 staff are being sent home, it points to something bigger and something that is going on. So, Madam Speaker, I have seen the prayer by the Senator that this be brought to the Committee on Labor, because it's a labor issue. We have labor relation laws in this country. We have very proper laws on labor issues, on employment, and we should be able to look at it within, the aspects of the law, in terms of what is being followed, what is happening, what is the intention. In fact, I would love it to have been done jointly with the Committee on Health, who have a report on the same institution. So, Madam Speaker, if it is sent to our committee as usual, we will expedite and deal with it properly and conclusively within the shortest time possible. If you even strengthen it by your direction as to whether it is to the committee of the whole, because if these people have been sent tomorrow, and they're gone, the worst thing is uncertainty. Even if you're given a month, but you don't know where your next salary will come from, where your next meal will come from. You don't know whether you'll be able to pay fees for your children. You're not sure whether you're, in trouble, whether you've caused anything. And, when somebody gives such an announcement and preempts by saying we're sending them on leave, but we're also giving them counseling, it's like if I call you and tell you I need to meet you, but please come with your lawyer. It means there's something that I want to do to you. And I think that's the best way to handle public servants. Public servants must not live in fear. Public servants should not go about their work without the assurance and security of what we call permanent and pensionable, or even the terms of their contracts. I do not think it is right. So without saying much, because I've not seen the content, and we really like dealing with facts, the content of the actual action being taken, I've heard what members have said. We shall look into all of that if it's brought to my committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Wako Naomi Jilo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to add my voice to this very important statement, as I also congratulate Senator Olekina for coming up with this very relevant and timely statement. Madam Speaker, I am joining the honorable senators, because it is a matter of concern to each one of us. Sacking 900 members of staff at this particular time when Kenyans are facing a lot of difficulties, a lot of challenges, and we all know very well that our economy has not been doing well. Many people are really struggling with the impact of COVID-19, which is still with us. Madam Speaker, I have interacted with many Kenyans who are struggling to pay school fees for their children, who are struggling to pay their medical expenses. Many people are struggling even to feed their families because of the challenges the country is going through. And so by sacking 900 members of staff, you can imagine the number of people that this is affecting. It has huge impact on our population. Many will get sick or even develop blood pressure as a result of this. And as we know that this year, many Kenyans have committed suicide as a result of frustrations, just because they cannot meet the demands of their loved ones. Madam Speaker, I join my fellow senators and I support this statement and pray that the legal committee under the able leadership of Senator Sakaja will give this all the attention that this statement deserves, and that the CS will be summoned to come and talk to us and make us understand why this is happening and measures that can be put in place so that these members of staff will not continue suffering. Thank you, and I support.
Honorable Senators, I think we have had a lot of deliberation on this matter. We see the gravity of the statement. I'm so glad that the chair to the Labour Committee is also around. I would like to leave it to the discretion of the chair to see the best way to move forward, whether you want to bring another committee on board, you want to invite as many people as you can, but please give it a very serious attention because it's a serious matter. So we refer the statement to the Committee of Labour. Next statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Of course, on that one, definitely we shall follow our procedure to call the CS at the soonest availability. But in addition, I'll also, beyond the lines, because I know the time letters are processed, it takes a while, I'll make a phone call and call the Cabinet Secretary and find out what's going on and invite him. Because sometimes we invite them 7 days, but they get the letter on the 6th day. Then they have an excuse. Today we're having a very important inquiry on football, and the CS, admittedly, it was very short notice, requested to come back on Thursday, and I'll be updating the House because you directed, or rather the Speaker directed that we go under that. We do it in 2 days. We've been able to have a very good part of that inquiry today with FKF on the issue of the audit, and next week the CS together with other stakeholders are going to come. So I know many members are interested in that. I wanted to give that update. But Madam Speaker, since you're on statements, there's something that is happening. I had brought a question, a very urgent question, to the Committee on Lands about demolitions and evictions in Nairobi. There were impending demolitions in Kamai, in Kahawa West. And I knew when that thing comes, when the statement comes, when the CS is here in the NMS in Nairobi City County, I would ask about what is happening yesterday in Mukuru Kwanjenga, as well as, there's something impending in Mradi, in Embakasi East. Madam Speaker, I beg that you can direct that this committee expedites. And I urge my fellow chairs, when issues are brought to my committees, I try on your issues. I try my best and I go out of my way. Please also do the same. Because the people of Nairobi are looking. There are more than 20 families at risk. There are 5,000 families at risk in Roysambu constituency. You have seen what is happening in Mukuru. And they're asking, where are our leaders? Yet when we bring questions here, they're being swept under the carpet. Kindly, Madam Speaker, direct that this committee expedites that issue, because those are matters of life and death, livelihoods. People's things are outside. Their children don't have a place to go to and to stay. And yet we have to go there out of our pocket, give some support. That does not help. This Senate can stand for these people, Madam Speaker. Kindly direct so.
Yes, what's your point of intervention, Olekina?
Madam Speaker, I'm glad that Senator Sakaja brought up that issue. Today I'm going to be completely unorthodox because of what is happening in this House. Madam Speaker, it is very disturbing, and I'd rather just put it out there. Apart from the Deputy Majority Leader, the Majority Leader is away, the Minority Leader is away, the Speaker is away, all of them plus the clerk away attending one conference. You know, I mean, they have the powers to alter the calendar, Madam Speaker. You know, these deputies, the problem is this. Will they have the moral authority to rein in chair? I'm raising the issue, Madam Speaker, not on the Speaker.
I'm not seeing the Speaker on
I'm
the chair.
saying the Speaker, and I have a lot of respect for the Speaker, Madam Speaker. The problem that I have is this. What moral authority will the majority, the whip, or the minority, you know, leaders have to rein on the chairpersons of committees when they're not here? Senator Sakaja is raising a very important issue because we have statements which have been pending for a very long time. We are about to go again on another long recess. So do you want to tell me those people who soon will be homeless will wait for the leadership to see the importance of them being in this House? Madam Speaker, it's about time that we remember that we'll be judged harshly by history because the leadership have the power in our own SPC to be able to alter the calendar of the Senate. You know, it's actually something which is disturbing. So the only way that we can be able to address the issue raised by Senator Sakaja and the issues that we have is at least if the chairs of the committees can be able to expedite, be here to deal with this issue. I know everybody's running to be elected today. Everybody's running for campaigns. But really, we are still getting a salary from the public. The campaigns are not on. So, Madam Speaker, it's a concern, and unless we deal with it honestly, we will not be able to resolve that problem.
I think your point is made. Senator Dulo, I can see you are on request or intervention. Yes, point of order.
Madam Speaker, I think KEMSA issue is very urgent, and I hope Committee of Labour will be able to handle as quickly as possible before maybe a major action is taken on those 9 members of staff. Number 2, I have 2 statements that are pending before this House. One is on Wasonyiro that has been pending over 1.5 years, where some members of staff have been laid off, and up to now, they're just languishing in poverty in Isiolo. And I hope Labour Committee will be able to do that. Number 3, I brought a statement on IDs, which was very urgent, and members of the House raised a lot of concern. The urgency of issuing identity cards because registration of voters is going on. Up to now, the Committee on Security, where I sit, they have not even taken any action. And I think this matter is very urgent. Madam Speaker, kindly give a ruling on these pending statements. I thank you.
I can see intervention by Senator Mwinyi Haji Mohammed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also want to join my colleagues, Senator Sakaja, Senator Olekina, and Senator Dulo, to emphasize on the fact that when we bring statements in this House, they are supposed to be acted upon so that we report back to our constituents on what has happened on those statements. It is not proper for a statement to be read in this House and then the committee kills the issue that has been brought before this House. I brought a statement here, a petition was brought here by residents of Buxton Estate sometime early this year, and up to now there has been no report. There's just been a ping-pong game. They said they will summon the governor came to Nairobi, they said go and meet these people, they have not been met, and up to now the construction is going on. The chair of the committee made an order or a ruling at the site that there should be no construction, but still there's construction going on, and people have given up. People are wondering whether this Senate is a forum for gumzo mtaani or what. Because if there's nothing that is happening, what can we do to our people? Do we continue bringing statements here? I raised statements here on the issue of forced disappearances and extrajudicial killings. A report was tabled here about 3 weeks ago, and up to now that report has been removed from the order paper. We don't know what is happening. Many more people are being abducted and by the state organs. They have disappeared. I remember last week there was a professor who is a lawyer and an advocate who was abducted when he was following up an issue concerning his client who had been released from prison after serving a 10-year sentence on terrorism charges. In Mombasa, there was a young boy of 22 years who was abducted early last month. And up to now, he has not been found. So, Madam Speaker, if we are going to work in this Senate and we see that there is something that our people are seeing, we need to see what reports the chairs of these committees are coming. The chair, I think, in my view, Madam Speaker, the Security Committee, last year I brought a statement here on the shooting down of an aircraft in Somalia. And up to now, that statement has not been acted upon. So, Madam Speaker, are we coming here to just talk and go away, or there's some action that is supposed to be taken so that our people know that we are working as Senate? Thank you.
Senator Sakaya, you have something else to add?
Yes. Yes, Madam Speaker, Senator Dulu has just asked about something before my committee. And Madam Speaker, as I've said, we try hard to be diligent. Madam Speaker, there was a report on Wasonyiro that was brought to the House. It came to the House. Madam Speaker, in discussing that report, reservations were raised by members. And the Speaker asked us to take into consideration. The committee met again, but the committee wrote to Senator Dulu. We wrote to her on the 4th of August, Madam Speaker. And on the 4th of August, we wrote saying that we refer to the report that we had laid to the table because we can't unlay a report. We were supposed to do an addendum or to review it. And we said the committee at its 46th sitting held on the 4th of August deliberated on the issue and on the Senate proceedings of 29th July and resolved to request you to formally submit your reservations on the tabled report in writing so the committee may follow up and conclude on the issue. We still have not received a letter. So how is it that our committee has not acted on that, yet the senator herself has refused to write to us? We asked for those formal, her reservations on the issue. Madam Speaker, additionally, Madam Speaker, we wrote to the ministry again.
Yeah, just let him
let me finish.
Then I'll give you the...
On the same issue, we wrote to the ministry again. The ministry submitted to us, Madam Speaker, a response. That response was shared with the senator. To date, we have still not received a response. Kindly guide on how else we should move on this issue. Because we are ready, we're just waiting for that response. We've reviewed the issue, we've spoken again to the institution, we've written to the ministry, we wrote to the senator on the 4th of August. So it's now making the committee look like it's not working. Is it right, Madam Speaker? Just tell us, guide us. What do you want us to do additionally? We've bent backwards on this matter, and we want to conclude.
Senator Dulu.
Madam Speaker, I wrote to the committee, and if you want, I can table the response to the letter written to me by the Committee of Labor next Tuesday. So clearly, when the chair says I've not responded, I don't understand, unless maybe there is miscommunication. I have sent the letter through your clerk. So I'll table the letter actually on Tuesday next week. I thank you.
I think now we put that matter to rest, and she will produce... Yes.
Madam Speaker, there's no need to go around in circles because it's my secretary that tells me they've not received it. If she has a letter, she can give it to... I'm right next to her. She can give me the letter and I conclude on this matter. There's no need to wait for Tuesday because these are people we're talking about. They're out there. They have issues. And I'm willing... Madam Speaker, I've come to your county. There's no county I've not visited. Maybe Narok, which we were supposed to go to in Bomet, just next to you last week. But now we're closing these tours because now we're the only ones going to people's counties and they're not coming to ours. People are campaigning. But Madam Speaker, we've gone out of our way to sort out issues. So if she can just give me the letter, I'll finish the issue, Madam Speaker. Even on Tuesday with my committee, we have no reservations, Madam Speaker, at all.
So Senator Dulu, you'll make the letter available to Senator Sekaja, and then he can respond by Tuesday.
I will, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Now, Senator Sakaja, how long do you need on this statement on KEMSA? 2 weeks? Or you can do it faster? I can see you need to bring so many, to bring other people on board.
Madam Speaker, practically, the earliest, because we don't want to give the CSS excuses. Our procedure is 7 days. So we'll cause a letter to go out, possibly by tomorrow, and then invite the CS for Thursday. But I've committed to talk to the CS as well, even as the letter is on the conveyor belt, because of our procedures. And Madam Speaker, maybe we should also change our standing orders to allow for electronic communication, because you can find that Parliament is here and Interior is here, but it takes a week for the letter to reach and be received. We should be able to get the letters and send on WhatsApp or on email so that we can do these things faster, because we don't want those people to stay in anguish for much longer. But I will go out of my way to do it properly, and I'm sure my secretariat always follows proceedings. They're hearing me. I've given the instructions for them to write immediately to the Cabinet Secretary and to KEMSA on that matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. And I think maybe the clerks will have to fast track all the other concerns that have been made by other members concerning different statements or inquiries. So I would like to leave that to the clerk to work on that. Next statement. Next statement is by, you are now ready? Are you ready? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this chance. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare regarding delayed staff salaries and other unfair labor practices by the Bomet Water and Sanitation Company Limited, BOMWASCO. In the statement, the committee should, 1, state why salaries of workers of Bomet Water and Sanitation Company Limited have not been paid for several months. Number 2, inform the Senate of the reasons for termination of contracts of some staffs of water company, and whether due process was followed in terminating contracts of the affected staff. Number 3, Madam Speaker, the committee should explain why statutory deduction on workers' pay have not been remitted to the relevant statutory bodies. 4, state measures in place to address workers' grievances in total compliance with labor laws. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Just because our time is almost spent and we still have other statements. So, Senator Sherargei.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank Senator Langat for bringing this statement and the plight of Bomet's Water and Sanitation Company staff. I think we have, the counties are facing a lot of problems, and it's good that we have the senator of, the chairperson of Labor and Social Welfare, Senator Sakaja, in the House. It is a problem that many county staff are facing at the moment. I don't know whether our county governments are cursed, because every county government that you talk about, they are either firing, if they are not firing workers, they are sacking them. If they are not sacking them, they are suspending. If they are not suspending them, Madam Speaker, they are denying to pay statutory deductions, and it's an offense. As you are aware, even the governor of, I saw in the news that the governor of Nairobi, the deputy governor of Nairobi, is being hunted down by KRA. So it is a serious and illegality and it's criminal that county governments must be put in place. And I think the Senator Sakaja-led committee must rise up to the occasion, as they usually do, and call out Bomet County government, Madam Speaker, and call the governor and the county government to order by ensuring that they pay. You know, Madam Speaker, finally, you know, it is so painful that these are employees that they want rent, they want transport, they need to wear clothes, they want school fees, Madam Speaker. These are people who are hand to mouth, Madam Speaker. These are people who they depend on that salary to live. They depend on that salary to survive, not even live, because Kenya nowadays, because they had economic times to survive. Madam Speaker, so you can imagine when they miss salary, they miss their remittances, Madam Speaker. You can imagine when they walk to an hospital and they are being told the NHIF card is rejected because the statutory deductions that have been paid by Bomet County government have not been paid, Madam Speaker. You can imagine the frustration, even as we are hired by Parliamentary Service Commission. You can imagine when you walk to an hospital and you want to use your medical card, Madam Speaker, and you are being told, no, your employer has not limited the necessary statutory deduction, Madam Speaker. So I want to call Senator Sakaja's committee to work hard on this. I know Senator Sakaja is aiming for higher things in this city, and we hope, Madam Speaker, that these things shall be addressed once and for all. And they should even, Madam Speaker, in conclusion, give us policy or legislative intervention that we need to put in place to protect our workers and employees within the workforce of county government. I thank you very much.
Finally, Senator Olekina.
Madam Speaker, thank you. I rise to support this statement by Senator Dr. Langat. Madam Speaker, on this issue of statutory deductions, I sit in the Committee of Health, and I remember when NHIF came to our committee, when we had summoned the CEO, they had indicated that they had given county governments 3 months, a grace period of about 3 months to be able to submit the statutory deduction. It worries me now that even after those 3 months, people are not paid their salary and their statutory deductions are not submitted. I am concerned that, for us, and this is something that really beats logic, Madam Speaker. In most cases, we are here, we enjoy good services. Our statutory deductions are submitted, remitted on time, but our own staff, when their salaries are delayed, even until today, Madam Speaker, our own staff have not been paid their salary. We enjoy. We are very lucky. We are people who can still afford to have a meal out there, but our own staff in our own offices have not been paid their salaries. So when they are not paid their salaries because either the Parliamentary Service Commission or the Exchequer has delayed in transmitting the money to Parliament, when they go to the hospital, they cannot get basic services. So, Madam Speaker, this is a much wider issue. It is not only affecting the people of Bomet, but it's affecting workers of low cadres in this country, including our own parliament staff. Madam Speaker, I'd like to really, and I feel sorry, but he's quite capable, for my brother Sakaja, because all issues, all statements are coming to him, and I congratulate him for really being up in the game, and the people of Nairobi should be looking out there, because he's capable of making sure that things are done. So, Madam Speaker, I hope that when Senator Sakaja is looking on this matter in his committee, he can be able to expound to understand why is it that county governments are given a grace period of 3 months, yet other people are not given a period, because it affects all of us. Pay. It is a responsibility of an employee or an employer to pay for the employee, to remit. If you're self-employed, you pay on time. So, Madam Speaker, I support this statement, and I hope that we can get answers.
Senator Sakaja, that's another statement that will come to your desk. And what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, Madam Speaker, we'll deal with that. But this one will deal by correspondence. We'll not go to Bomet on this one. I apologize to Senator Bomet. And he knows why. He knows why I'm saying that. We were there the other day. But Madam Speaker, I know their governor is out of the country, in Greece, but we'll do the correspondence because it's the water service company and many other counties that have not been remitting. In fact, for us, on top of that specific one, we'll write to NHIF and these other statutory bodies. We have done that to KRA, NHIF, NSSF, for them to tell us which counties have not been remitting and to what extent, what is the amount. We shall table that report here so that every senator knows the status of their county with respect to statutory remittances. And then the Senate can pronounce itself. In fact, in many respects, and I'm glad we have members of the Committee of Finance here and Devolution, in many respects, Madam Speaker, the Senate can make a decision. Out of the allocation that goes to the counties, we can decide to remove that amount from the counties and pay NHIF, NSSF, KRA directly out of the backlog. We have counties through the conditional allocation. We can actually, Madam Speaker, as a house. It's the same way, Madam Speaker, counties have been paying for medical equipment directly. We can actually pay directly and make sure that money is done. The Senate can actually make that resolution.
Olekina, what's your point of order?
I fully support Senator Sakaja, but there's an issue that Senator Sakaja has raised, which cannot happen. Article 219 of the Constitution is quite clear. Unless the money, a share of county revenue, which has been devolved, has to be sent in its entirety, unless it has been stopped under Article 255. You know, so there's no way that we can justify. I don't think it is good for us to put anything on record which cannot be done. Unless that money has been stopped by Treasury, there's no way that Senate can be able to stop that money. A share of revenue allocated to a county government must be sent in its entirety without any delay. So we cannot. That one has got to be expunged from the record of this House.
Yes, Senator Sakaja. Let's not make it an argument point, because some of these things can be
Madam Speaker, there's no need to debate this. I think I understand public finance better. Madam Speaker, 219 says each county must be assured of its allocation without any reduction. That is true. Madam Speaker, what the Senate can do is to specify and ring fence that this certain amount from the county's allocation must be used for this purpose. Madam Speaker, we can bring a motion to debate that. I know what I'm talking about. It's been done. It's been done before by this House, in the last Parliament, in the last Senate, and it can be done. Because if out of Kisumu's money there is 5 billion and they have not been paying this, the Senate can pass a resolution that out of the 5 billion are given Kisumu, this amount of money must be used for this purpose. That is the work of the Senate, Madam Speaker.
So we conclude that matter, Honorable Senators, and refer the statement to the Committee of Labour. Any other clarification on that? I think that one is subject to further clarification by the relevant committees. The next statement is by Agnes Mudama Kabindo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I arise pursuant to Standing Order 48.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Tourism and Trade and Industrialization on the liquidation of Dramville Cooperative Society Limited. In the statement, the committee should, 1, appraise the Senate on the facts that led the decision to place Dramville Cooperative Society Limited under liquidation, stating whether the members of the cooperative society were involved through public participation and provide evidence of the same. Madam Speaker, 2, state the reasons for the delay of finalizing the liquidation process since 28th of August 2009, disclosing the full costs of the process to date. 3, shed light on claim of mismanagement of and irregular disposal of members' assets by the liquidator. 4, cause the State Department of Cooperative to undertake a comprehensive investigation and audit on the action of the liquidator to address malpractices and mismanagement of the liquidation process. 5, outline measures if the safeguard member, 5, I'll repeat again. 5, outline measures if any of safeguard members' interests and to compensate members and the beneficiaries of Dramville Cooperative Society Limited. 6, to state measures in place to curb the mandate and tenure of liquidators in order to discourage prolonged liquidation process and detriment of members. Madam Speaker, if you allow me, I will add that many of the first members, the initial members of this firm, have long died, and their sons are the ones who are following now the process of recovering their land back. The liquidator has been on this farm for the last 12 good years. The farmers cannot access their properties and they cannot assist themselves with them. Madam Speaker, there are widows who are left behind with children by their dead husbands who owned this farm. They have issues. They need to be to assist themselves with the properties that they were left by their husbands, and they cannot. Madam Speaker, my fear is that even those who are there are also...
Are you adding information or you are debating your statement?
I'm not debating, Madam Speaker. Let me just add information.
Yes.
Is that this statement needs urgency, Madam Speaker, that these people may get their justice and this process may come to an end. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I don't see the chair of the tourism, trade and tourism. Is the chair in the house or deputy? So we refer the statement to the chair of the Committee of Tourism and Trade. I don't see the chair or the deputy for tourism and trade. So it will be referred to them, and we hope to get a response very soon on that statement. Did you have something to add? Senator Kavindi, what did you want to say?
No, Madam Speaker, I'm saying that this statement has urgency. These people are really, really suffering. So, Madam Speaker, I take your guidelines, and I hope it will be acted upon very soon.
Yes, that's what I was doing. It's only that I don't see the chair or the deputy chair. But it will be forwarded to them, and we will need a response from them as soon as possible. I think 2 weeks should be enough time.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I don't know if any of the members wanted to add anything to it.
They've not shown that interest. I would have given them the opportunity to add. Senators, we move to the statement pursuant Standing Order 52-1 by the Majority Leader, Senator Dulo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 52-1, I hereby present the business of the Senate for the week commencing Tuesday, 9th November 2021. Before I proceed with the statement, allow me to take this opportunity to welcome honorable senators back for the short recess between, from the short recess between 22nd October and 1st November 2021. I trust that you are well and have had an opportunity to interact with your constituent, family and friends. Madam Speaker, on Tuesday, 9th November 2021, the Senate Business Committee will meet to consider and approve the business of the week subject to approval by the committee. The Senate will consider bills at the second reading stage, bills at the committee of the whole stage, and motions on reports filed by select committees. On Wednesday, 10th November and on Thursday, 11th November 2021, the Senate will consider business that will not be concluded on Tuesday, 9th and Wednesday, 10th November 2021, respectively, and any other business scheduled by the Senate Business Committee, including petition and statement. There are 12 bills due for committee of the whole stage and 23 bills due for second reading, while there are 9 motions pending debate and conclusion, some of which have been outstanding since February this year, despite them being scheduled almost on the daily basis. These bills have been allocated slots in the weekly program of Senate business that is circulated every Friday, Madam Speaker. In this regard, I urge respective movers to be available in the Senate wherever their bills are scheduled in the order paper. Standing committees are encouraged to hasten consideration of bills referred to them and table reports thereon, while committee chairpersons and individual senators proposing amendments are urged to be available in the chamber to move the same at the committee of the whole stage. Allow me at this juncture to point out that as indicated at the order number 9 and 10 in the order paper for today, there are divisions on bills at the second reading stage. I urge all senators to avail themselves for the division for smooth transition to the next stage. Honorable senators, the following is an outlook of business to be expected for next week. Committee of the Whole on the following bills: the Street Vendors Protection of Livelihood Bill, Senate Bill number 7 of 2021. B, the Kenyan Sign Language Bill, Senate Bill number 5 of 2021. Senator Dr. Gertrude Msuruve and Senator Professor Margaret Kamar. C, the Law of Succession Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 15 of 2021, Senator Abshiro Alake. D, the Kenya Citizen and Immigration Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 33 of 2021, Senator Irungu Kangata. And finally, the Lifestyle Audit Bill, Senate Bill number 36 of 2021 by Senator Faria Haji. Second reading of the following bills. Number 1, the County Government Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 38 of 2021. B, the National Cohesion and Peace Building Bills, Senate Bills number 19 of 2021. The Reservation of Human Dignity and Protection of Economic and Social Rights Bill, Senate Bill number 21 of 2021. D, the Sports Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 40 of 2021. E, the Election Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 42 of 2021. F, the Election Amendment Bill number 2, Bill, Senate Bills number 43 of 2021. And finally, the Special Needs Education Bill, Senate Bill number 44 of 2021. As honorable senators will note, from business indicated in the above, the Senate resumes its sitting with an already full plate. I also wish to remind honorable senators that at the rise of the Senate today, we will be left with 12 sitting days, translating to 48 hours to transact this business before breaking for the long recess. Allow me, in conclusion, therefore, to thank all senators for the dedication and commitment they have continued to exhibit in service to the people of Kenya, and urge that we all continue to do the same during this part of the Senate calendar. I thank you and hereby lay the statement on the table of the Senate. I thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Next order.
Order number 8, motion, adoption of the report of the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare on the status of labor migration and proposed policy interventions.
Senator Faki, and you had 15 minutes balance.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia ripoti ya kamati ya ajira na huduma za jamii. Mheshimiwa Spika, wakati jana nilipokuwa naendelea, nilisimama wakati nilikuwa najaribu kutoa sababu kadhaa ambazo zinafanya kuwe na kutokuwa na ufahamu baina ya waajiri kule Saudi Arabia na kwengineko na wale wafanyaji kazi ambao wanatoka hapa Kenya kwenda kufanya kazi zile. Mheshimiwa Spika, tuliona kwamba lugha ni jambo moja ambalo lilikuwa linaleta shida baina ya wale wafanyaji kazi na waajiri wao kule ughaibuni. Mheshimiwa Spika, wengi wanatumia lugha ya Kiarabu na Wakenya wengi wanatumia Kiingereza na Kiswahili na lugha zao za mama, kwa hivyo inakuwa ni shida kuwasiliana baina ya mwajiri na mfanyaji kazi wake. Mheshimiwa Spika, tuliangalia pia tukaona kwamba hakuna ile tunaita mafunzo ambao wanapewa wale ambao wanasafiri kwenda sehemu zile kabla ya kwenda kuanza kazi, kwa sababu ni muhimu kuweza kupatiwa mafunzo ili wajue matarajio ya mwajiri wao ni nini na wao matarajio yao ni nini katika kazi ile. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, hiyo imeweza kuleta shida, na kwa sasa kwa vile watu wengi wanakwenda sehemu zile, ndio malalamiko yanakuwa mengi ya wale ambao wameweza kuathirika na hali ya maisha katika sehemu zile. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo ambalo ningependa kusema ni kuwa wale ambao wanapata matatizo ni wachache kuliko wale wengi ambao wanafanya kazi zao bila matatizo yoyote. Na hiyo ni muhimu kwa sababu isionekane kwamba watu wote wanaokwenda kufanya kazi sehemu zile wanateswa, wananyimwa mishahara, wanazuiliwa kupata uhuru wa kwenda kutembelea jamaa zao na kadhalika. Kwa hivyo ni wazi kwamba wengi wanaofanya kazi kule wanafurahia kazi zao, na ndio maana kila mwezi ama kila mara wanatuma fedha kwa jamii zao ili kuweza kusaidika. Mheshimiwa Spika, mwezi uliokwisha, mwezi wa 9, nilipata fursa ya kukabidhiwa matatizo ya mmoja kati ya wafanyajikazi ambao wako kule Saudi Arabia, na huyu anaitwa Karen, na familia yake mjini Mombasa ilinijulisha kwamba Karen yuko Saudi Arabia na anafanya kazi kule, lakini anateswa, na yeye akanitumia text kupitia kwa WhatsApp kueleza masaibu yake. Mheshimiwa Spika, akanipa namba ya agent wake ambaye anajulikana kama Isa, ambaye yuko hapa Nairobi. Na Isa nikamtumia ujumbe, akaniuliza, na ningependa Mheshimiwa Spika kunukuu vile ambavyo tuliwasiliana na huyu bwana Isa. Nikamwambia Isa, nilimtumia nikamwambia huu ujumbe unatoka kwa bibi mmoja anaitwa Karen ambaye nimetumiwa na jamaa zake. Akaniuliza shida yake ni nini? Nikamwambia shida ni kwamba anasema anateswa na anakuwa anafanywa kama mtumwa kule anakofanywa kazi. Majibu yake yalikuwa kama ifuatavyo: what is she subjected to? Amefungwa na chains. Nikamwambia la, hajafungwa na nyororo, lakini mimi kama senator wa Mombasa ningependa kujua matatizo ni nini ili tuweze kumsaidia. Majibu yake yalikuwa kama ifuatavyo: if you are indeed a senator, why don't you just pay her ticket home? Does it sound complex or stiff to you? And for your information, instead of coming with a lot of gas, did you ask me if I tried to address the issue? So nikamjibu nikamwambia, you are the one who was paid to take the her there, so why don't you pay for a travel back to Kenya? Akanambia, she complained she was sick. She was taken to a public hospital. She had nothing. Taken to private hospital. Again, she had nothing. We changed the house she was working. Still complaining. We never force anyone to work, and it is never our intention to make her do so. Come on, bro. Everyone works hard. She wants to sit down and use free Wi-Fi. Hivyo tu. Did we send her for honeymoon? All the girls we have sent, it's only her who is complaining. We did everything within our capabilities. Mheshimiwa Spika, singependa kuchukua muda mrefu kuweza kunukuu maneno haya, lakini hayo ndio majibu ya wale madalali ama wale wakala ambao wanapeleka wafanyakazi hawa katika sehemu zile za nje kwenda kufanya kazi. Tuweza kulaumu watu wa Saudia, tuweza kulaumu watu wa UAE, tuweza kulaumu watu wa Qatar, lakini hapa kwetu hawa wanaopeleka wafanyakazi hawa, hiyo ndio attitude yao Mheshimiwa Spika. Hiyo ndio utendakazi wao, kwamba hawako tayari kusikiza malalamiko ya wafanyakazi ambao wao wenyewe wamewapeleka kwa kulipwa. Mheshimiwa Spika, si rahisi msichana ambaye amepelekwa sehemu zile kwenda kufanya kazi aweze kukataa kufanya kazi, kwa sababu anajua amekwenda kufanya kazi na anatarajia malipo ya kazi ile, na sio hawaendi kule Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kuwa ni bure. Kila dalali analipwa sio chini ya 100,000 kumpeleka mtu mmoja kwenda kufanya kazi kule. Wewe Mheshimiwa Spika, tatizo kubwa liko katika madalali wetu, hawa mawakala ambao wanachukua hawa wasichana kwa waajiri kwenda kwa ajira katika sehemu zile. Mheshimiwa Spika, kama hawa mawakala wataweza kukabwa zaidi wanaweza kupewa vigezo vigumu viweza kutekeleza kabla ya kupewa ruhusa ya kuweza kupeleka wafanyaji kazi katika sehemu zile. Itasaidia pakubwa kuondoa hili tatizo, kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Spika, ikiwa wakala majibu yake kwa senator ni haya, utafikiria majibu kwa yule mfanyaji kazi ambaye yuko kule itakuwa namna gani? Na yule mfanyaji kazi hajui mtu mwingine ambaye yuko naye kule isipokuwa ni wakala wake. Na familia, hata familia Mheshimiwa Spika, ikienda kudai katika hawa mawakala, utapata kwamba wengi wanajibiwa majibu ya ovyo, wengi wanatukanwa kwa sababu amempa wakala kazi ya kupeleka mfanyaji kazi katika sehemu za ughaibuni kwenda kufanya kazi, ambao kazi ile Mheshimiwa Spika imemsaidia wakala na vile vile pia imemsaidia familia ya yule mhusika.
Ni hoja gani ulionayo Senator Sakaja?
Mheshimiwa
anataka kukuarifu.
Ningependa aniache nimalize kwa sababu akinipa taarifa.
Unataka akuarifu au la?
Singependa aniarifu kwa sababu inahitilafiana na sio mawazo, inafuatana na mwongozo wangu ambao nimeweka kuweza kuchangia swala hili. Asante. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, naipongeza kamati hii kwa kuja na mapendekezo haya. Mheshimiwa Spika, wengi wa wale ambao wanapata shida, Mheshimiwa Spika, wanapata shida sio kwamba hawawezi kufanya kazi, wanapata shida kwa sababu mazingira ya kazi sio mazuri yale ambao walikuwa wameyatarajia. Kwa hivyo ni bora kwamba kuwe na uwezo, kuwe na njia ambayo ikiwa mtu ameshindwa kufanya kazi, kama ni kuregesha nauli ya ndege, aruhusiwe kuregesha nauli ya ndege, apawe tiketi yake ya ndege kurudi Kenya, na akifika Kenya familia ama wale wahusika waregeshe pesa ya watu ya ndege. Lakini sio kwamba mtu aendelee kuzuiliwa katika sehemu za ughaibuni bila ya kuwa na nafasi ya kuonana na wakili. Na tunajua katika sehemu za kule sheria yao ni tofauti na sisi. Kule ukipelekwa kama umefanya ajali, Mheshimiwa Spika, barabarani, wewe ndio mwenye makosa unless wewe mwenyewe ama wewe mwenyewe uweze kuonesha kwamba hujakuwa na makosa. Njia yao ya sheria Mheshimiwa Spika ni tofauti na yetu, ambao sisi unaweza kupelekwa mahakamani ukasema sikufanya, ukapewa bondi, ukarudi ukafanya kesi yako kiwanja. Lakini kwa wale ambao wako katika sehemu kama zile Mheshimiwa Spika, ni vigumu kuweza kupata nafasi ya kuajiri wakili, ni vigumu kuweza kupata nafasi ya kupewa bondi ili utoke ukafanya kazi yako, kesi yako kiwanja, hasa ukiwa mgeni sehemu kama zile bila ya mwenyeji kukusimamia, inakuwa ni vigumu Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, naunga mkono ripoti hii, na tatizo kubwa Mheshimiwa Spika pia liko katika Wizara ya Ajira ya Leba, kwa sababu uwezo wao wa kuwasimamia hawa mawakala Mheshimiwa Spika ni mdogo sana. Hawawezi kusimamia mawakala wote ambao wanachipuka kila sehemu. Kila sehemu utapata kuna notisi, kuna arifa. Ukaenda Mombasa hivi sasa utapata kuna mawakala wengi ambao wanafanya kazi hizi, na wengi wanachukua pesa za watu, hawapeleki kule kazini ambako wameahidi, na vile vile wengi wameweza kushtakiwa Mheshimiwa kwa kukosa kulipa pesa za watu ambao wamechukua bila kuwapa kazi hizo. Mheshimiwa Spika, naunga mkono ripoti hii. Asante.
Asante Senator Faki. Pengine tu ningetaka kumuuliza mwenyekiti, kwa sababu yeye ndiye alikuwa amelivalia njuga swala hili. Hawa wakala, ulipata fursa yoyote kuuliza maswali ama kuweze kueleza zaidi jambo linalotendeka? Kwa sababu vile nilivyomsikiza Senator Faki akisema ikiwa atarudishiwa namna ile na ni kama anakejeliwa, itakuwaje kwa wale ambao ambao wanasafiri? Kwa hivyo pengine mwenyekiti, kwa muda mchache sana.
Asante sana bwana Spika, na hata ndio maana nilikuwa nataka kumwarifu Senator wa Mombasa. Tulikutana na hawa mawakala, wako katika vikundi viwili ambapo wamejisajili pamoja kama association, na tukasikiza wale wafanyikazi ambao wako kule, na ndio maana tumependekeza katika ripoti hii ya kwamba mawakala wote wapigwe msasa ili kuthibitisha ya kwamba wanafanya kazi yao kwa kupitia sheria ambayo iliyopo katika National Employment Authority Act, na huo msasa ukipigwa waweze kusajiliwa upya na serikali, kwa sababu kuna wengi kama yule ambaye amemtaja ambao kukitokea shida anatupa mikono juu, hata kuwajibika, hataki kusaidia yule msichana, lakini wamepewa hela hata zile za kuweka bima na kuhakikisha kwamba huyu msichana ambaye ameenda kufanya kazi kule nje ako na tikiti au nauli ya kurudi akipata shida kule Uarabuni. Asante bwana Spika.
Asante, jambo zuri hilo. Senator Cherargei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I want to support the report by Senator Johnson Ada Sakaja and the committee for, of course, this leadership. And from the onset, I want to say the committee has been industrious and have been committed. Many issues have been facing labor. I think, Mr. Speaker, let me start from the onset. You remember when I was seconding an amendment on the issues of introducing issues of diaspora. I did indicate that Kenyans, for the last 2 years, 2 financial years, Kenyans from abroad have remitted more than 780 billion. Foreign exchange earner in this republic, Mr. Speaker, is now approaching, is the best, is the topmost. It has gone beyond tea and any other foreign exchange earner that we get as a country. Mr. Speaker, if this country was functional, or if this country, if this country was concerned about the diaspora community, we will even have a special directorate of diaspora issues, where some of these Kenyans who are facing in Far East, Mr. Speaker. I want to agree that many Kenyans, and even Nandi, we have bound the brand. I have attended several occasions where we have had to fundraise and bring Kenyans who have died in unexplained circumstances, in unknown circumstances. Mr. Speaker, the other day I was in part of Mgwen called Kapkangani. They lost their daughter there working in Arab Emirates and Far East. There is always, Mr. Speaker, I want to say, we must agree on how we can handle. There are many Kenyans. When you go to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport here, many Kenyans travel to Far East to look for job opportunities. One of the greatest resources, Mr. Speaker, if we take care, is having Kenyans who are working abroad. You saw the other day we were told like UK needed 300 nurses. And although later we were being told that most of them do not understand English, I don't know where that one came from. But that's a story for another day. But another resource that Kenya can export is the human resource. Because if every Kenyan, you go everywhere, every Kenyan is looking for a job opportunity. From the qualification of after Form 4, after a certificate, diploma, degree, masters, and even PhD, Mr. Speaker. So how do we harness, how do we bring on board and ensure we protect our labor and sisters and brothers who work in the Arab Emirates or Far East? And I want to really thank the Senator Sakaja's led committee for finding time and visiting those countries and understanding what are the challenges, apart from diaspora challenges of renewal of passport, issuance of Huduma number, renewal of ID. We realize that, and the report has captured very well, Mr. Speaker, that they need even deportation centers or holding centers in those countries, Mr. Speaker, so that our children are well protected there. We needed deportation centers, holding centers, because, and I think it is very important, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and that is why I've always insisted that we should have a special directorate on diaspora issues, should be able to tell Kenyans how many young people are maybe in those deportation centers that are waiting back to be deported. How many are in holding centers, Mr. Speaker? How many are in distress as we talk today? How many Kenyans? Because all of us get messages, I'm stranded, I'm distressed. We have seen videos which are very, very sad in social media where young girls are saying, please help us. We are being frustrated. We are being humiliated, inhumane. I think going into the future, and I think the Ministry of Labor should lead the country in this, that the agents that run this organization must sign a certificate of a particular conduct, a responsibility. And it is good the information the chair of the committee has indicated that there is even insurance. Why is it that agents are quick, and you were being told yesterday that agents are quick to, the moment you take even one person, you get $1,500. which is good money for them. But when it comes, somebody is frustrated there or they are sick, it becomes hard for them to repatriate or bring them back to the country. So I agree with the committee report that we should know how many Kenyans are in distress, how many are in detention centers or deportation centers, how many are on holding centers, who are these employers? Because the biggest concern has always been allegedly that somebody I've seen in social media and on many occasions that you find somebody says he works in 10 houses or his job description was not this one, Mr. Speaker. And I think it's a clear violation. And Kenya being a signatory of International Labour Organization, ILO, there are particular standards that must be followed. And the solution, and I saw another recommendation by the committee that we need to suspend for some time. I think also we need to, and so that we don't undermine, but in the interest of the country, because there are also many Kenyans who are dying, their deaths have never been explained, their bodies are just brought back into the country. The only time, by the way, and you know, we are reactionary in nature, Mr. Speaker, the only time we are active is when it is reported on national television or within social media or in the media. Then we say we need to address this issue. I think as a country, and partly of the recommendations is that we need to suspend and audit how many of our children are going to agents, and who are these agents? Because sometimes when this issue comes, you see agents call press conference and saying, we are doing this thing as per the labor laws. We are doing these things as per the labor laws in the Middle East countries and with Kenyan labor laws. And I think, Mr. Speaker, we need to protect this because the future of Kenya, and I've always indicated, is in the human resource. We have seen now, we have 300 nurses that were needed to go to the UK to work as nurses, although the fate of English or whether the English was a problem or not, that is neither here nor there. But we need to agree, Mr. Speaker, that the next frontier of Kenya is not oil, is not tea, is not coffee. The next frontier is young, energetic, well-learned, well-educated young people who are willing to work across the globe. And the greatest source of income and revenue before this, Mr. Speaker, is some of these young people are working in Middle East countries. Mr. Speaker, I would also propose, and I know with the industrious nature of the chair, Senator Sakaja, is that we should have active rescue centers, because when you talk about deportation centers, as a lawyer I will tell you it's a total bell game altogether. But rescue centers, for example, what are the emphasis that they are doing? Do they have employees or attaches that have been attached to ensure they act as rescue centers? That when they're in rescue centers, you saw even the Americans, when the Honduras, they were trying to close the border, you could see even the American government had rescue centers where they take care of the children, they feed them, they clothe them, they take their COVID test, Mr. Speaker. So I think, Mr. Speaker, we need to agree that the embassies, and I think the chair, who is the future governor of Nairobi City County, should be very insistent, Mr. Speaker, on ensuring that we have rescue centers. Say that what Senator Faki was saying, Mr. Speaker, is that they are able to be rescued, to be given clothes, to be given medicine, to be given water, to be given psychosocial support, to be given counseling, Mr. Speaker. And I think it is very important that we must have rescue centers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, another unrelated issue, although this is the issue of investments, where we need also to protect this diaspora community. Especially, these are hustlers, Mr. Speaker. These are hustlers. This is what we call about bottom up, Mr. Speaker. Because these are people who work as maids. These people work as house servants, house help, house managers. They work as drivers. These are real hustlers. That when you talk about bottom up, we must ensure that we work hard on it, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I agree that, Mr. Speaker, just like the way we are protecting Mamambogas and border, we must protect those individuals that are in those places, Mr. Speaker. And that is why I was saying it is important, the issue of counseling. Mr. Speaker, also, we need also to, as Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Labor, must also ensure they provide counseling to the families, Mr. Speaker. You have seen families are distraught. You send your child to Middle East, you go there, before you know it, Mr. Speaker, you are being told your child died. You know, the body is brought to the JKI. You can imagine the pain, Mr. Speaker. And I think in the next governor of Hustler Nation, these are some of the things that will form the core. Because these are hustlers. These are some of the things that will form the core of the decision going into the... That even families, you see, Mr. Speaker, you remember the Ethiopia air crash that unfortunately claimed many lives. You saw the ministry decided to provide socio-psycho support. Why are we not providing with the families that have lost their loved ones abroad? Your child, when he was well, is being brought back in a coffin, in a casket here at JKIA. No one tells you anything. There is no... Another issue, Mr. Speaker, and the final one, is on the issue of Interpol, international policing. Most of the deaths, no one tells us about the post-mortem report, what they're investigating. We need the DCI, George Kinoti and DPP here, should ensure that they have a sharing of intelligence like Interpol. They can be able to link when they are having a problem. If somebody dies, our son or daughter or a Kenyan dies abroad in Middle East while walking there, it is like it's like they are dying like dogs, Mr. Speaker, like flies. They are being told, you are being told a story, they fall off the balcony, they died, and that is it. The body is brought back, the family buries their son or their daughter, then the story dies there. The question should be, what is the DCI, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, other investigative agencies are doing? They should collaborate with Qatari government, Emirati government, or those Middle East government. And I'm not saying only should be Middle East. We have had Kenyans who die in the US, where the countries where there are weak criminal justice system. What is the DCI and other relevant stakeholders doing so that these hustlers who die in the Middle East, their deaths are investigated, so that we don't suspect foul play? Because most of the deaths we hear, Mr. Speaker, most of the time, these deaths we hear about, most of them are normally based on an explanation or the foul play, or people are saying they died in unexplained circumstances. So another point, Mr. Speaker, is on the issue of investigation to ensuring that the killings of Kenyans who are dying. And then, Mr. Speaker, a very important thing, there is what we call unclaimed assets authority. They must tell us, when those young men and women die in, for example, in those who takes their property, who takes their money, who takes their payment? What is the unclaimed assets authority doing? Do you know that even that animal is in existence in law? It is being chaired by somebody. And Senator Omogeni knows that unclaimed assets authority, if, for example, a boy or a girl dies, for example, in Middle East, she had money, she had salary, she had property. Who takes care of that property until the rightful owner? Because sometimes Kenyans and our African nature, we don't like writing next of kin because we don't want bad things. We don't want to premeditate bad things will happen. But who takes their property? Who takes their money in the bank? What is the unclaimed assets authority doing, Mr. Speaker? And I think as a country it's very important. In this country we have those authority. What is the role of that authority? What are they doing? Who audits the authority? Have they expanded their issue to include diaspora, Mr. Speaker? Have they included diaspora apart from... So the question that we must ask as a country is that the unclaimed assets authority should be at the forefront to ensure when our brothers and sisters unfortunately pass on or die in unclear circumstances, if they had property and money, it should go to the rightful owner, like next of kin, their wives, their husbands, their daughters, their brothers, their children, so that we can follow the law, Mr. Speaker. Finally, Mr. Speaker, is that in the interest, I have agreed that all these issues should be, but the final thing that I request, the Ministry of Labor and Social Welfare, I don't know whether it was transferred, I stand corrected, I think it's labor nowadays only, is that we must do audit of how many Kenyans are employed. And I want to request, in the interest of many Kenyans who are living abroad, why don't the Attorney General's office and the Solicitor General's office assist in scrutinizing of them to these dubious and scrupulous vinaitwa the contracts zenye ni gushi, or what do you call in Kiswahili, these contracts that are by the way, you know, one interesting thing, whenever you sign a contract, you sometimes see small writings called terms and conditions. And you know, Kenyans sometimes sign, Mr. Speaker, and sometimes you sign kumbe you are hanging yourself.
Senator Cherargei, be consistent. If you're speaking English, speak in English. If it's Kiswahili, be in Kiswahili. But if you wanted to say fake contracts, you say gushi.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I really wanted to say fake contracts. I'm not as eloquent in Kiswahili as you, Mr. Speaker. But I was looking for the word fake contracts or even compromise contracts, Mr. Speaker. I think these agencies must work in collaboration with, and that's why I said Diaspora Directorate is important, so that we can even have a legal department, so that these agencies, before these young men take the air tickets, and I'm told you they get $1,500 to take one person to those areas. Before they do that, before they sign the contract, we scrutinize if it is a standard contract. Because that contract can say when you die there, the agents, the contract can say when you land in Dubai or anywhere of that Middle East, that is the relationship ends between you and your agents. Yet you should have an obligation to bring you back. They have obligation when you are in distress. And I think as an important, most of the embassies that we have abroad, they should have such mechanisms to assist. And also I want to request that even as we agencies being vetted here in Kenya, our embassies abroad must assist us, Mr. Speaker, by providing us and vetting those agencies in those areas. And really want to know that even the Kenyan embassy should be telling us if a Kenyan like Senator Cherargei, if he works in Nairobi, we should be able to know the address. Where do they work? Which estate do they live? Which property do they own? So it becomes easy for tracking. And I think it is very important, Mr. Speaker, that we must agree as a nation that I want to really thank Senator Sakaja's led committee that they have done a superb job. But I want to challenge them that they bring legislative and policy intervention. I have given one of the Solomonic directions on how they can do earth-shaking changes, like even proposal of Directorate of Diaspora issues only. And in those directorates, we have issues of labor, issues of investment, issues of counseling, issues of rescue centers, repatriation, holding centers, and those among other areas, deportation centers. And then finally, we must also, when these Kenyans are brought back, we must have a program of reintegration. Is that the correct? Reintegration. They are reintegrated to the society. That is what we must look at, Mr. Speaker. When they are, for example, they are deported, when they are deported back into the country, Mr. Speaker, they should be reintegrated to the society. And that is another issue I want to challenge Senator Sakaja's led committee, that they must look at reintegration, so that they don't come, you know, you can die out of depression. Kenyans, you can see mental health is becoming a problem. If you deport somebody from those countries, they come, they don't have anything. You can imagine if we don't do proper reintegration into the society, they can become societal problems, societal misdemeanors and what have you, Mr. Speaker. So I really want to say finally that I support this motion and thank Senator Sakaja's committee for providing leadership. And I hope, because most of the agencies are based in Nairobi, I hope when he becomes the governor of Nairobi City County, he should be able to also assist the country in ensuring that these agents comply with the law and give, when they are licensing. I know county government will have a role even on licensing these agencies. We expect people who have understood the challenges that Kenyans are facing. And majority of those people in those Middle East come from Nairobi City County. And I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Senator Cherargei. Senator Okongo Umogeni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for also giving me an opportunity to contribute to this report. Mr. Speaker, every time I stand to read a piece of work done by a Senator of Nairobi. I cannot hide the brilliance in the work that he does. We must acknowledge, Mr. Speaker, that among the senators in this House, one that is hardworking, one that is brilliant, one that puts belief and conviction in the work he does is Senator Sakaja. And when you read the report that he has presented before this House, Mr. Speaker, it is not disappointing. I must thank him and members of his committee for the effort they have put in trying to look at the problems and the misery that is facing this vulnerable group of Kenyans in our midst. Mr. Speaker, it's shocking that this country does not care about the welfare of over 80,000 Kenyans who are working in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Mr. Speaker. And these are young Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, who have been forced to go to Saudi Arabia, to go to Qatar, to go to the United Arab Emirates in search of greener pastures. Mr. Speaker, if this government, if our country called Kenya put in place mechanisms for these young Kenyans to find employment, Mr. Speaker, they would never have found their way to these countries. Mr. Speaker, when you read stories that have been captured by the committee chaired by Senator Johnston Sakaja, it's a matter that should call for an urgent reaction from our government. We need action, not tomorrow. It should have been done yesterday, Mr. Speaker. Because here are Kenyans who genuinely, without committing any crime, Mr. Speaker, look up to opportunities for employment out there. They go to employment bureaus, they are offered jobs, they go to Saudi Arabia, and what do they receive in return, Mr. Speaker? Not only are they paid low, poor salaries, but they are mistreated in the hands of their masters, Mr. Speaker. And we keep quiet as a country. Then I ask, what is the essence of having a government? We say it's a government of the people, by the people, for the benefit of the people. What is the essence, Mr. Speaker? Because government is there to protect the vulnerable, the poor, those who cannot speak for themselves, Mr. Speaker. I'm even wondering whether the government has read this report ever since it was tabled in the House, before this House, and the recommendation there, the first one I'm seeing is that the committee has made a very urgent request that all Kenyans who are currently out there and who are in distress and who are stuck in Saudi Arabia should be repatriated back to the country. What action, as we speak today, this afternoon, what action has the government of Kenya done, Mr. Speaker? And I'm speaking as somebody who has witnessed firsthand a victim who left this country after our Form 4, a sister of the former chair of NAT in Nyamira. She went to Saudi Arabia, then she disappeared incognito with no communication, Mr. Speaker. After 6 months, it was discovered that this lady had died in the hands of her employer in Saudi Arabia. And then you go through the agony again of looking for money to bring that body back to the country. Do we have an embassy in Saudi Arabia, Chairman? Do we have an embassy? Does that embassy care about the welfare of these poor Kenyans, Mr. Speaker? This is a report that should provoke action and a sympathy from our government. It is a very sorry state of affairs. What I ask, Mr. Speaker, what is the office of the Honorable Attorney General doing, Mr. Speaker? How do you allow Kenyans to leave this country, go out there, be employed, and then they are subjected to these inhuman and almost servitude kind of treatments, Mr. Speaker? And we hear nothing from our Attorney General. What has he done as we speak today? What has he done, Mr. Speaker? I think these are some of the happenings that should even call for resignation of some office holders, Mr. Speaker. 80,000 Kenyans and you feel nothing. You are behaving as if nothing at all is happening. Just the other day, I read in the social media, I don't know how true that was, that Luis, an interior minister in Peru, resigned simply because he violated COVID regulations observance of some COVID regulations. But here we have an Attorney General who does not care, who has done nothing, who feels nothing about the suffering of these poor Kenyans. It is a shame. I'm a lawyer, but I'm telling the Attorney General, shame on you. Mr. Speaker, how, as a country, do we sit back and feel as if nothing has happened? How many Kenyans must die before we see action from our country? Are we waiting for another body again to be brought here and another one next week, next month, and we do nothing as a government? That should not be, Mr. Speaker. Because any Kenyan that dies in a foreign country under the mistreatment of another foreign country is a mistreatment to all of us as Kenyans. I don't even feel inspired, Mr. Speaker, to take a trip to United Arab Emirates, to Saudi Arabia, to Qatar, if this is what they are doing to my brothers and sisters. I don't feel inspired. Mr. Speaker, it's not right. And you're talking about people who are domestic workers, people who are serving you with dedication, and then you just mistreat them, kill them, exploit them, and then you just send back dead bodies. Mr. Speaker, some of these Kenyans, when they land, I don't know whether Senator Sakaja, you are able to establish this. These Kenyans, the moment you land in Saudi Arabia, your phones are confiscated. You're not allowed to communicate to your motherland, not even through email, not through WhatsApp. So you are working incommunicado. You are more or less a prisoner. I mean, how can you say, and I don't know whether this is just happening to Kenyans or whether it's happening to nationalities from other countries. Did you establish what happens to nationalities from other countries, Senator? Are they subjected to the same treatment? Is it because of the color of our skin, Mr. Speaker? I mean, this is annoying, Mr. Speaker. It's annoying. Because these are not strangers. These are people from your village, people from my village. It could happen to your children. It's only that you are lucky. You are able to give them good education and they can find jobs. But it could happen to anybody. It could happen to our aunties. It could happen to anybody. Mr. Speaker, these recommendations that have been put forth by this committee, we must demand some immediate action. Especially number one, Mr. Speaker, the return to Kenya of all current and former domestic workers who are currently in distress and stuck in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We want to hear that Kenya Airways has been sent there. Tickets bought for these Kenyans, and then they are brought to Kenya, and we will send you chairman to receive them at the airport. Yes, Mr. Speaker, it's not right. Two, Mr. Speaker, we want an investigation done and a report submitted to the Senate so that we go to the bottom of this problem, Mr. Speaker. We don't want to be like what's happening in the social media, Mr. Speaker. When I walked here, Senator Cheragay was telling me that my wife is trending on social media, Mr. Speaker. Because they are Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, who misuse social media to character assassinate other people. Like what they are doing to my spouse. And I want to tell them I stand here as Senator of Nyamira. I love my wife. I support her in what she does. I will be unshaken. And she will continue to dispense justice as a judge of the High Court of Kenya. The shenanigans going on in social media will not shake Kenyans who want to serve this their motherland, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, 1 year ago, I made a report to the Ministry of Interior. I reported to Gigiri Police Station about somebody who went to the media and was doing character assassination on my person and on my own mother, Mr. Speaker. I'm a son of Nyamira, everybody knows. My mother is a respected woman in Nyamira, Mr. Speaker. But somebody was writing in social media, Mr. Speaker, that my mother was married in Lowland in Siaya, that she gave birth to me in Siaya, then migrated to Nyamira. Bullshit. Nonsense. Mr. Speaker. So that kind of ineptitude that we see from our own investigative agencies should not be reflected out there, Mr. Speaker.
What is it, Senator Professor Kithure Kindiki?
Honorable Speaker, is Senior Counsel Senator Omogeni in order to use the term he has just used? Is it a parliamentary term? The bull word.
Professor, you should assume you did not hear what I said.
That is not a parliamentary term.
Yes.
You have to withdraw.
I didn't use that word he's alleging I used. I think I was not attentive. So next time you be attentive and listen to my contribution. Now, he's my good friend and a good...
Senator Kongo Omogeni, did you use that term?
No, I didn't. I think Senator Kithure Kindiki was not very attentive. Next time I'll urge him to be more attentive, even if he had a 5-course lunch. And I'd like to continue.
What is it, Senator Kajwang?
Honorable Speaker, did you hear Senator Omogeni refer to a professor of law, Professor Kindiki, as not being attentive? Mr. Speaker, I know for you to become a professor and then become a senator for 2 terms and to lead this House and to be the Deputy Speaker of this House, your level of attention can never be doubted. Mr. Speaker, is it in order for the Senator for Nyamira to imply that my good friend Professor is not attentive now and has never been attentive? How then did he get his PhD and his professorship? Because I know he didn't go to school with Sudi. He went to school with Sakaj and I. So can Senator Nyamira withdraw that assertion that the good professor is not attentive?
What is it, Professor Kithure Kindiki?
Honorable Speaker, I will stick to the straight and narrow. Senator Omogeni is a respected member of the bar. He's a senior counsel. He used the bull word, and I asked whether it is in order, Mr. Speaker, to use such a word, not just in respect of my senior, but for posterity. Is the bull word, which I don't want to repeat, is it a parliamentary word? And if senior counsel insists that he didn't use the word, let the answered bear us out. Is it in order?
What is it, Senator Olekina?
Mr. Speaker, I don't know which dictionary we'll be looking at to define whether a term is parliamentary or not. But if I had clearly what the good professor of law is asking is whether my good friend Senator Omogeni is in order to use a term which can be defined as untrue talk by the English Oxford Dictionary. The term nonsense or bullshit, those are terminologies which can be defined as untrue talk, things which have got no substance. So I don't think we should reduce parliamentary language or restrict, become so conservative such that we let people just go in and malign other people with untrue talk. So, Mr. Speaker, maybe the good professor of law can be able to take us into another trajectory of defining terminologies in English, in parliamentary. If we had a parliamentary dictionary, please share with me because I have not seen one. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
There are two statements I'm supposed to make determination. The words that the 2 words. One, he said that the professor was not attentive. Second, the word that he used.
Mr. Speaker, can I make it easier for you? I want to withdraw the part I said that my good friend was not attentive, because he's my good friend. But I want to agree fully with my colleague that the word I used in reference to people who misuse social media is not unparliamentary. I'm not making reference to any senator. I'm making reference to those who misuse social media for character assassination. And I think they deserve the terms I've used.
Senator, those terms are being used here. So the issue is for me to determine whether that is parliamentary or not. And proceed, I'll make a ruling on that. But because you have apologized, please, for that one that you're referring to the Senator, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, the other point I wanted to emphasize on the report that has been brought before us by this committee is the requirement that all local agencies that recruit and send our Kenyans out there should be registered. And I don't know what mechanism we can find, Mr. Speaker, under the Ministry of Labor so that we can hold them liable, Mr. Speaker. Because how do you recruit a Kenyan in Nairobi, you send them to Saudi Arabia, but you bear no responsibility when these Kenyans are mistreated in Saudi Arabia and when they die in the hands of foreigners. Sometimes, Mr. Speaker, around Ajib House, we used to find hundreds of Kenyans seeking for employment from these agencies. Then 6 months down the line, they close shop and disappear. That case I'm giving you for Nyamira, Mr. Speaker, when the relatives of that girl wanted to trace the agency that recruited that poor girl, they had closed shop, Mr. Speaker. So I agree with the recommendation by Senator Sakaja that we should have a clear mechanism where these agencies have registered officers, they have contact persons, and even when they fold up, Mr. Speaker, there should be a clause telling them to be responsible, to have contacts where they can be reached, maybe for a period of a certain number of years, Mr. Speaker. Another thing I want to agree with, Mr. Speaker, is that our labor officers here in Kenya, because this is basically an employment issue. If you are allowing more than 80 Kenyans to go to work in Saudi Arabia, just like our nurses are going to London, I read in the papers, I've not seen the comprehensive report, I read in the paper, Mr. Speaker, that the ministry has negotiated that these nurses will be given money equivalent, I think, to 7,000 pounds as a settlement package in UK. Mr. Speaker, they have been negotiated for return tickets. 3, they have been allowed to relocate with their families, and they are even being given an option to become citizens in the UK. Meaning that, Mr. Speaker, in the case of domestic workers, they are left on their own. They are left on their own. Those poor Kenyans are left on their own, Mr. Speaker. But when it comes to the specialized cadre, the nurses, the government has taken a keen interest. Mr. Speaker, it is the PS, Ministry of Health, who flew all the way to London to go and negotiate terms for the 20,000 Kenyans who are going to work in the UK. But I've never had any action. I've never had a PS, Ministry of Labor, making a trip to United Arab Emirates or to Saudi Arabia or to Qatar to negotiate terms for these poor Kenyans. We need to see some interest, Mr. Speaker, from the Ministry of Labor, Mr. Speaker. So I can see my time is up, Mr. Speaker, but I want to really thank Senator Sakaja for this very good report, and I hope this is not going to gather dust in the shelves. I really hope that we will ensure that the recommendations we have made are taken up by the government and that action will be taken, Mr. Speaker, so that we can give a smile to these Kenyans who are out there trying to eke a living for their families, trying to find something for their families that have been left behind, and they have gone out there because as a government, Mr. Speaker, we are not able to offer jobs for these poor Kenyans. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank the good work by the Senator of Nairobi, Senator Sakaja. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Omogeni, Senior Counsel. Professor Kindiki.
Honorable Speaker, I thank you for giving me an opportunity add my voice in support of this important report. I'll be very brief. First, the challenge of foreign Kenyan nationals working in foreign countries is a big challenge affecting our country. Two, our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through the Kenyan missions abroad, have done a not so good a job, because part of their core mandate in the places where they have embassies, high commissions, and permanent representative missions is to ensure they have a database of all Kenyans who live there, where they live, what they do, including the everyday experiences that may be of concern to us as a country. That is why we spend a lot of money to keep and maintain embassies and high commissions in over 50 capitals of the world, some of them multilateral stations. So I am afraid our Ministry of Foreign Affairs may not have done a very good job in that respect. I don't see why, as much as I agree with Senior Counsel Senator Omogeni, that our ministers and PSAs should be able to travel abroad and negotiate and look at the conditions that our fellow countrymen and women are going through abroad. I see no sense in wasting money in that kind of an effort when we have permanent missions, embassies abroad. Thirdly, Honorable Speaker, it is my view, nevertheless, that the Ministry of Labor, especially the National Employment Bureau and other agencies of government that are responsible for labor matters, have also not done a very good job. We do require in this country a complete database of all persons who are involved in recruitment and exploitation of labor abroad. I say so because this database is not only important for our country in terms of tracking where our people are abroad, but also it helps us in conjunction with other countries of the world to be able to minimize and mitigate the consequences of illegal migration and trafficking in persons. I am afraid some of our countrymen and countrywomen may have been caught in the intricate and lucrative business that is trafficking in persons abroad. I also call upon our country to develop meaningful and close collaborative arrangements with the International Organization for Migration, which actually has a very good database of people and movements, including movement for purposes of labor and migration in many parts of the world. So some of the information that our Ministry of Labor and even these agencies like this House may be wanting to have could actually be provided by the International Organization for Migration, which I think has one of the biggest region offices here in Nairobi that serves quite a number of countries. Having said that, Honorable Speaker, I just want to commend the committee of Senator Sakaja for taking up this matter, because there is a big concern and a big outcry from our people who are abroad, those who have gone through harassment, mistreatment, and illegal labor practices abroad. However, Honorable Speaker, it's important to note that actually it is not all Kenyans working outside there, including the Middle East, who are going through this hardship. So we also need a bit of a profiling so that the best practices in terms of countries, but also employers abroad there can also be highlighted, so that we don't discourage Kenyans who might otherwise get good opportunities out there and be able to bring up their families and contribute to the remittances that are working very well in terms of compensating where our tea, horticulture, and other products have gone awry. So it's important, therefore, to distinguish between good practices in this area of foreign labor, but also the bad practices need to be addressed. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I want to support the position that there is need to identify and track all people who are involved in exporting labor abroad, and they can borrow from the practice of my profession, the legal profession, where every lawyer who is practicing in this country, any person who wants to engage a lawyer needs just to go into the nearest computer, log in, and find out whether the person they want to hire is a registered advocate, and even if they are an advocate, whether they are licensed to practice that particular year, whether they're active or dormant, whether they have disciplinary cases, and even their address. And when a law firm moves address, we normally provide a notice to the Law Society of Kenya that from this time, please note that my law firm is moving from this address to that address. So the issue of agents flying by night, changing residences, and even winding up should not be used as an excuse to excuse these kind of things. And I know if we did that, we can provide a very good framework and allow Kenyans to work abroad. Actually, I'm a big proponent of trade in services, and many of the countries that have made very good strides in the international trade have actually capitalized not only on trade in goods, but also trade in services. And we have very good professionals, people who can work in the domestic realm, seafarers, and experts in accountancy, finance, law, name it. We have a huge outlay of human resource, which I think we should encourage to be of economic use to our country out there. I want to take this opportunity to support this report and applaud Chairman Senator Sakaja. He has done a great job. He has done a beautiful job in this House for the last 5 years. And I think the people of Nairobi should be proud of having elected Senator Sakaja, because he has done a great job in representing not only Nairobi, but all the counties of the Republic of Kenya. I support.
Thank you, Professor. There being no any other requests, I call upon the mover to reply.
Mr. Speaker, I am grateful for all the senators who've contributed to this report, the debate on this report. And just to affirm, the reason why we chose to make it a report that needs a resolution is because of these very serious recommendations that the Senate needs to pass. I'm grateful for Senator Kihika, who was part of the delegation that did this tour. Senator Murkomen, who, in as much as initially had a different view, finally saw the light, especially in terms of, this temporary suspension of domestic workers. And grateful to Senator Cheriot. Senator Cheriot, who spoke after him, really laid it bare as to why we need to suspend labor migration of domestic workers until those specific conditions are met. We are not asking for a blanket suspension. We understand that is an economic frontier. And Professor Kindiki has put it very well. Yeah, that is an area through which our country is gaining. But until you can assure Kenyans of their safety and well-being, no amount of dollars in remittances is worth the life of one Kenyan. There's no amount of money that is worth that. I'm grateful to Senator Musuruve, Senator Naomi Shionga, who also is a member of the committee and is part of those who supported this report. Senator Ledama Olekina, of course, very strong remarks around this, a true fighter for the people. Senator Langat also gave very good contributions. Senator Faki, and he's given us very practical and direct examples, including that example of an agent called Issa, who, when one of the domestic workers was in distress, sent very rude messages asking him, why are you coming with a lot of gas? If you're a senator, buy the ticket and send her back. You know, very rude agent. And I've gotten the contacts of that agent. I forwarded that number to the National Employment Authority with a view, because I know they're listening to this discussion, of them taking action on such agents. Senator Cherargei as well, Senator Omogeni, and I'm grateful for the very kind words, and finally Professor Kindiki, even for the advice on how to deal with these issues. Thank you very much. And as Senator of Homa Bay has confirmed, indeed, as a Yorkist, you can see he can never hide his education. He went to a brilliant school and then furthered it, you know, subsequently. On top of Lenana, he just went on, and now he's a professor with us. I'm grateful. Mr. Speaker, this is one of those reports whose implementation we will not allow to be a by the way. We will do a monthly review as a committee on labor on this issue, on this report, until the day we leave the Senate in August. Hopefully, those conditions will be met, because those are things that government can do. Yeah? Just when we were debating the report, Mr. Speaker, yesterday, I was being sent for videos of bodies which were removed from Shemesi mortuary yesterday of Kenyans. As we were debating, right now a young man has sent me a distress call, where I think when Senator Professor Kindiki was talking about his brother, who they suspect is being held at that Tahrir deportation center for an altercation with his boss. These are live matters. You know, we're not discussing theory. We're not discussing, you know, something about geothermal or space energy, you know, that we cannot feel or touch. We're talking about real lives of real Kenyans who are looking to us for real solutions for their problems, Mr. Speaker. And so that is why I'm very proud of the Senate. I'm very proud of the Senate for taking time to look at such issues of Kenyans, and I'm very proud of my committee. Mr. Speaker, I am grateful of the comments. Senator Kindiki has asked us about best practice. We have looked at that. In the report, we have gone to, you know, we have looked at Philippines. That country has negotiated for its people. The reason why Kenyans are being mistreated, Professor Omogeni was asking, is because they believe they can get away with it. Saudi Arabia is such a disciplined country, Mr. Speaker, disciplined. If you drive and your belt is not on, there's no policeman who will stop you. The cameras immediately take a photo of you, and you'll find the money is deducted from your account. There's no discussion, there's no court. If you just go against the law, those people are so disciplined that they'll only do these things against the law when they know they cannot get away with it. What have other countries done? Other countries have secured solid bilateral labor agreements that have secured the welfare of their people. And so we become easy prey. Because what happens within our embassies there, the complaints from many people are that when you go there with a case against a Saudi, you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. Yet you're the one Kenyan. Our embassies must be seen as a fortress for Kenyans who are out there. The embassy must be a place that when they see, they know, here I'll be safe. This is a fortress. This is my country. And if I have a complaint against a foreigner in their country, they will believe me first and establish whether he is saying the truth or the other way around. And that is why we've asked for safe houses. We've asked for Mr. Juma, the only labor officer there, attaché, overwhelmed. I think he needs to be given a good battery of staff. And a proper labor office be set up in Jeddah as well. He showed me in his vehicle the thousands of kilometers he has to drive to respond to a stress call, you know, a distress call on the other side of the country. And many times there's no budget. So he has no way to, unless to, you know, going into his pockets to resolve an issue. I mean, why else do we have a mission there? Saudi Arabia is such a key labor destination. The focus of that mission there should be labor. And I wish I was still in the Committee of Defense and Foreign Relations, because we need to, you know, tailor the functions of our different missions based on the strategic interest we have in that country. Our mission in the US needs to be geared towards what our strategic interest in the US is. Our mission in China, our mission in Uganda, our biggest trading partner, should be focused on trade. But our mission in Saudi Arabia must be focused on labor. must be focused on. So you have one officer and you have other people there who, in many respects, and I don't like making blank allegations, will actually have a case to answer when this report is sent and transmitted this afternoon after we vote on it. Once this report is transmitted to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Macharia has work to do. We have one of the best diplomats in this country at that station. We expect more from Ambassador Ogego, who we know very well has done so well. He was in one of our most important stations in Washington, D.C. for many years. We expect so much more from him, and we know he has the passion. If he needs to change his stuff, let him tell us. If he needs support, if he needs other consular services sorted out there, let him tell us. But the embassy there cannot focus more on non-core issues of this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the National Employment Authority, I'm very passionate about this one because, Mr. Speaker, I consider it my baby. It came about by legislation I brought to Parliament in 2015. National Employment Authority has the potential of actually making Kenya a proper supplier of labor, skilled labor and even unskilled, but mostly skilled. Because we have so many young people out here with degrees, with diplomas, with certificates, who are disillusioned, disengaged, and I've always said the biggest threat to our security in this country is not Al-Shabaab, it is not Al-Qaeda, it is millions of disillusioned, disengaged young people with qualifications, without jobs, just seeing leaders with, zooming past there with the big guzzlers and coming to give them empty promises. This National Employment Authority by now should have created proper job centers across the country, training these young people, upskilling them, yeah, and packaging them to be able to get employment in different sectors. And that's why in that board, Mr. Speaker, there is foreign affairs, there is technical institutions, so that we can streamline the courses we're teaching our children. And from their database, they can tell, look, majority of what people are studying in university is this and this degree, but you have the employers in that board who are saying, this is what the market needs, and this is what the market will need in 5 years. So what the courses we teach in our training institutions, in our universities, are aligned to the market needs. Mr. Speaker, today everyone is doing procurement. I wonder why. Today everyone is doing, just because you've gone to university doesn't mean you'll get a job that will, an education that will give you a job. So the National Employment Authority has a mandate under the law to do vetting and registration of all of these employment agencies. And what we have said in this report is that all of these agencies must be freshly vetted. And they must be able to have the financial capacity to guarantee the safe repatriation of any Kenyan who they have sent out who needs to come back. In other countries, what they do from the amount of money, because every person, and let me tell you, members, you do not know, this is booming business. Every person sent, sometimes a big mega recruiter, and I met the mega recruiters there, Maharar and the rest. They asked for 2,000 Kenyans. For each one of them, you're given 1,000 to 2,000 US dollars. Calculate. So they see it as a commodity. This is more than exporting cows. It is more than exporting agriculture. They just put them in a plane. And then they move address. And I love what Senator Kindiki has said. It's always good to listen to professors. Well, the same model they have in the professional body is what this association of agents should have. That we can be able to tell, and the Saudis have put a system called Musanet. We should be able to tell this agent is here, it is owned by so and so, this is where they operate, if they move, this is where they have gone to, these are the girls under their care that they have sent, your relationship does not end. And part of that $2,000 or $1,500 should be a contribution to a welfare fund. Whether it is of every $1,500, let's say $200 goes into a welfare fund. Because when they lose their lives, when they have distress, and they come together under that body I told you called Jaliat, it's even outlawed for them to come and help. Have you ever had an embassy saying that Kenyans, you should not meet to contribute money to support another Kenyan? What kind of a person can prevent you? And you're not helping them, but you're saying also you don't meet to help them. All of these recommendations are in this report. So I want to thank senators. Let me not take much time, Mr. Speaker. A few weeks ago, I represented the Senate in a meeting with the IOM, and I'm glad the professor has mentioned it. And in this meeting, we're discussing what we call the National Coordinating Mechanism for Migration. And so there's a proposed national migration policy. And in that national migration policy, I told them, for the sake of Kenya, the area you need to boost more, because I don't think we have as much emerging refugee issues or other aspects of migration as opposed to, as much as labor. That the chapter on labor, actually we need a standalone labor migration policy, from which then we have legislation. There's no labor migration law. But Mr. Speaker, I told them that I know also how the process of formulation of policy takes long in this country. And especially now that we have a change, we're going to have a transition. Before it goes into that committee, it goes to cabinet level, a cabinet subcommittee, the cabinet then reduces it into a sessional paper, the sessional paper is brought, whatnot. That'll be 2-3 years. We can't wait for that. So we're working with them to bring, and I pray that I'll be able to sponsor this as a committee, the National Labor Migration Act. That then, whatever engagements our missions are getting into are because of statute, not because of the relationship of that specific ambassador at that time, because of statute. That our law says that this is how Kenyans are treated when they land, this is what happens to Kenyans, that you will not take away Kenyans' passports there because their law does not allow. You will not confiscate their phones because their law does not allow. And there'll be minimum pay for them. You cannot take someone from Kenya for a job and then they go and do something different. Please, members, let us pass this report and let us resolve these issues. Immediately, Mr. Speaker, that it is passed. Today, I am going to forward it to all these agencies. I know the Senate will do it officially. And we don't have do you have an implementation committee back? We don't have an implementation committee. So I will set up a subcommittee in the Committee of Labor to fully follow the implementation of these resolutions. And I hope that I'll be able to come back here in a month or two to say that the national government has complied with these resolutions. Let us now lift the suspension. But as it is, once we pass it today, domestic labor migration to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is suspended until the executive demonstrates that they can actually comply with those matters. Mr. Speaker, I beg to reply. Thank you.
Was it Lakina?
I had certain reservation, and I just wanted to get some clarity from Senator Sakaja, because we are just about to vote for this. And my concern was in the suspension of this labor migration into these foreign countries. Does that extend to individuals leaving on their own volition, going to Dubai to look for their jobs, I think it's important to clarify that, so that when we are voting for this, we know, because I would not feel comfortable voting for something that bars individuals from traveling on their own.
Senator Sakaja.
I think it's, in as much as you've used the discretion, because I've replied, I must give that clarification. This does not touch on individuals who are going to countries like Dubai. And I saw the video you posted of 3 lovely Kenyan ladies from Nyeri who you found on the streets of Dubai. I'm sure they're the ones who identified you. Your hair stands out and your height. And they were saying they went there to look for greener pastures on their own. This is specific to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, because there's a protocol. Even in their country, you will not come in as an individual looking for a job unless you come in through the Musanid system, which I have exhaustively explained. So once this is done, it is only applying to that one jurisdiction, because that is where we're getting these cases of deaths, and they have that system. But a Kenyan who is going to look for a job in Qatar can go. A Kenyan who is going to look for a job in Dubai, and there are many. In fact, I was chatting with one of them called Desmond, my good friend. When you go to Dubai, you meet them, and we take photos together and we keep in touch. That does not apply to them. And number 2, it does not apply to those who are there already, who wish to continue with their employment. But we've said anyone who is in distress and is there and is stuck and cannot come back must be brought back. And we want a database and accounting, accountability on all of them. That is the proposal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Senator Sakaja. As is provided by our Constitution, Article 123 and our Standing Order 79, I have determined this matter, it does not affect county. So I put the question that that the Senate adopts the report of Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare on the status of labor immigration to the Middle East and proposed policy interventions laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 2nd November 2021. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, the Heritage and Museums Bill, Senate Bills number 22 of 2021, second reading division.
That order is deferred. Second order. Next order.
Order number 10, the County Oversight and Accountability Bill, Senate Bills number 17 of 2021, second reading division.
The order deferred. Next order.
Order number 11, the Intergovernmental Relations Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 37 of 2021, second reading.
The Chairman, Standing Committee on Devolution and
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the House now considers the Intergovernmental Relations Amendment Bill 2021. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the chair of the Devolution Committee who sat in that committee before I did, because that is when the thinking around this amendment bill started. This House, in February 2020, was notified in the media that the Nairobi County government had signed...
Chairman, approach the table. Proceed, Chair.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the Intergovernmental Relations Amendment Bill 2021 be now read a second time. And allow me to proceed, Mr. Speaker.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Article 187 of the Constitution provides guidelines on how functions that have been assigned to county governments can be transferred to the national government. It also provides guidelines on how functions assigned to the national government...
Chairman, Devolution, it would have been kind of you to mention the former chairman who had this thinking for the purpose of record.
Mr. Speaker, the thinking behind this amendment bill was conceived when the senator for Laikipia was the chair of the Devolution Committee. So it is a good senator for Laikipia who did all the necessary actions for conception, and the senator for Homa Bay did all the necessary action for delivery. So, Mr. Speaker, I think it's a fairly straightforward matter, and I'm glad that the senator for Nairobi and future governor Nairobi is here, because some of the issues that prompted this amendment are issues that originated from Nairobi City County. The Intergovernmental Relations Act gives further effect to Article 187 of the Constitution and provides some procedures for transfer of functions. However, Mr. Speaker, what the Intergovernmental Relations Act says is that the County Assembly shall be notified of a decision to transfer, and that Parliament shall be notified of a decision to transfer. In the matter of Nairobi County, going by the current Act, the Nairobi County Assembly was notified of the transfer, and it was notified after the deed of transfer had been executed. Was the law broken? Probably not. Perhaps the law was bent, but not broken, because all that was required was notification of the County Assembly. It is interesting that even though the deed of transfer was signed on 25th of February 2020, public participation on the matter was undertaken on 4th of March 2020, several days after the deed of transfer had been executed and the Nairobi Metropolitan Service established. The case of Nairobi, again, was executive-driven. Belated involvement of the County Assembly, absolutely no involvement of the Senate or of Parliament, and public participation, which was done to tick boxes rather than to provide ingredients into the deed of transfer. And yet, Mr. Speaker, what was transferred from Nairobi City County government to the Nairobi Metropolitan Service, the functions of health, transport, public works and utilities, planning and development, these are functions that had been assigned close to 16 billion shillings in the budget of Nairobi City County in 2019-2020. So this was a very, very significant transfer of duties, responsibilities from one level of government to the other. Article 187 is clear that the elected governor of a county still retains constitutional responsibility for the transferred functions. And it is for interpretation, Mr. Speaker, whether the elected governor for Nairobi or the acting governor for Nairobi is really taking responsibility for the transferred functions, because it looks as if the governor for Nairobi is now taking instructions from the entity that the functions were transferred to. Mr. Speaker, this amendment seeks to provide clarity in transfer of functions from national to county governments, but also considers the reverse, that the national government, national government to county governments and from county governments to national governments. We have seen transfer of functions from county to national government in the case of Nairobi. I do recall also Taita Taveta had put a request to transfer the roads function from the county government to the national government. On the other hand, there could be cases where the national government wishes to transfer its functions to county government. Perhaps that has not been explored, but in areas like education infrastructure, there are those who are of the view that instead of the national government channeling funds through the CDF fund, it probably would go to county governments as a conditional grant, because governors are people on the ground and they could take that responsibility of developing education infrastructure if there was an intergovernmental agreement. So today we'd be talking of NMS taking over the functions of Nairobi City County, but tomorrow there could be cases where the national government or county governments are taking over functions of national government. This amendment seeks to provide for a role of county assemblies. So the existing act says county assemblies shall be notified. The amendment makes it clear the role of county assemblies in the transfer process. And it says that once an intergovernmental agreement has been drafted, it shall be submitted to the county assembly. The county assembly shall carry out public participation. The county assembly shall vote on the matter. It goes further and provides for the role of the Senate. Once the county assembly has approved the matter, that approval is transmitted to the Senate. And the Senate also takes a number of days to consider it. Mr. Speaker, you do recall that the process of conferment of city status has got similar processes, where the county assembly will take a resolution, the resolution will be brought to the Senate. Interestingly, there was no timeline to conferment of city status, so the Senate could take forever. And that is why, in this case, we've made it clear that the Senate should take 30 days to consider the transfer, so that it is not an indefinite matter. The amendment has also provided that where the national government wishes to transfer a function to county governments, the National Assembly shall consider the matter. And once the National Assembly has considered the matter, the Senate shall also consider the matter. The amendment makes it mandatory that public participation shall be undertaken at all levels by the county assembly and by the two houses of parliament when they are considering a case for transfer of functions. The amendment also clarifies issues of financing and budgeting, and makes it clear that the transferring entity shall be responsible for financing the functions that have been transferred. We have seen cases in the Nairobi matter, Mr. Speaker, where financing for Nairobi Metropolitan Service is not done through the County Revenue Fund. It is done a direct exchequer transfer to the NMS. And Mr. Speaker, we must be clear that that is an illegality. If these are county functions, then budgeting for those functions must be done by the county government of Nairobi City. It cannot be done at the executive. Mr. Speaker, again, it has provided for manner in which oversight will be undertaken, and it is clear that the county assembly shall exercise oversight over functions that have been transferred. Now, there's been some concern, Mr. Speaker, on who should be oversighting the Nairobi Metropolitan Service, especially when they say that they are an executive agency, an executive branch. There have been some suggestions that NMS should be reporting to the National Assembly and not to the Senate. And I think that is a ridiculous way of looking at things, because Article 187 is still there, and it says that constitutional responsibility.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news.